No time, but we're going to go ahead and give it a shot. We'll start the program in three, two, one. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I think we all kind of know where the direction of the show is going to take today. I think if you are even mildly interested in politics, you probably are aware that Kamala Harris is went with Minnesota Governor JD Vance, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Now, we're going to talk about Tim Walz. Obviously, most of the time, governors are not really well known nationally. Most of the time, governors are only really known in their state unless they're fairly controversial. I mean, there's only a few governors, like for instance, Gavin Newsom, everybody's heard of him. Certainly when Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor, everybody was aware of him. Ron DeSantis, whatever the guy's named down in Texas, Abbott, Texas Governor Abbott, folks like that, you kind of heard of some of them. But most of the time, governors are not really well known nationally. And Tim Walz is probably one of those governors. But we're going to certainly discuss him because we want to ask you folks, left, right, center, you name it. Did the Kamala Harris campaign, did they make the right decision picking Tim Walz? Or should they have went with someone else? There's a whole host of things that are coming out about Tim Walz, particularly his handling of the riots following the killing of George Floyd. That certainly is coming up. He is pro-LGBT. He has put laws in place protecting women's right to have an abortion in the state of Minnesota. That's certainly going to come up. But the right is already referring to him as a far left radical. Now, Tim Walz is also a hunter. He's an avid hunter. He did pass some background check legislation for gun owners, though. But he is a gun owner himself, a hunter himself. Grew up in rural Nebraska, 24 years with the Army National Guard. I believe he coached high school football and started out in Congress, and now he is the governor of Minnesota. So asking the question, did Kamala Harris make the right decision? Would you have favored someone else? As opposed to Tim Walz? Some would say Josh Shapiro of Indiana. I got a different pick. We'll certainly talk about that. But Tim Walz is on the ticket regardless of how anyone feels. So that's what we're going to be discussing today, all day, every day. I mean, there's not much else that is going to be bigger than that. Do you think Harris Walz has a chance against Trump Vance? 93, 92 days? Who's counting? 93 or 92 days, something like that. But then again, who's counting? Are you excited about November? Or is it just another day? We're going to talk about all that. Once again, you know how the program is ran. We are MAGA friendly. Been that way since day one. Always have, always will be, but liberals are welcome as well. Nevertheless, MAGA is my preferred audience. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. Kind of already know where MAGA is probably going to stand on Tim Walz, but we'd like to hear the opinions. We certainly like to hear if maybe there was a better pick. Doubt it, but I'd certainly like to hear from MAGA as well, with Kamala Harris going with Tim Walz as the vice presidential pick on the ticket. Anyhow, going straight to the comments. T-Money says, that's weird. All right, bringing that up, Tim Walz has done a pretty damn good job for the Democratic Party by labeling the Republicans as weird. The Trump-Vance team is weird. That term is sticking. And that came from Tim Walz, Kamala Harris's vice presidential pick. So he's done a good job with that. Anytime they're repeating it and trying to use it back, that shows it is effective. So weird is the term. Donald Trump is a draft dodger, says Bad Dad 07. We don't have solid proof, but for all intents and purposes, it does seem like Trump may have dodged the draft. We'll leave it at that. Looking at the comments, personally, I would have preferred Shapiro of Pennsylvania, But it doesn't really matter. Walz is perfectly fine, unites the party. So you feel like the Democratic Party, you folks feel like the Democratic Party will remain united behind Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. Let's go to the box. Let's talk about it. Tap the screen. About 300 of you, almost 400 of you in here. It's an early start to the program. Certainly tap the screen, get the likes up to about 10,000. We can certainly make that happen. Wing Ding King, good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Wing Ding King. Asking that question, do you believe Tim Walz was the right pick?
Handsome.
Hey, good afternoon.
What's up, brother?
Not much, just hanging around like Mike Pence on January 6th. So, do you think was Tim Walz the right pick?
You know what? The three that she had, the three choices. I think either one would have been pretty good.
Give me your three.
Shapiro, and I don't know if the other guy was the guy from Kentucky, Bashir.
Yeah.
You know, but I take Walz. You know, that's not a bad choice.
Okay.
You know, she did her homework. I'm just glad. I don't want to sound like a homophobe, but I'm glad she didn't pick Buttigieg.
Yeah, you know what? I was wondering the same thing. What would Buttigieg have added to that ticket? Because I'm asking that about J.D. Vance as well. I don't know what J.D. Vance added to Trump's ticket. I think Trump, going against Biden at the time, felt like he had the election in the bag and really just chose who may have been favorable to his agenda. I don't think Trump even considered. Because you hear Trump saying it doesn't even matter who I pick. But you do believe Tim Walz might bring Kamala Harris, more folks to the party?
Yeah, same. I mean, man, just look at it. I don't know if it was it announced after the Republicans in Arizona had a Republicans for Harris? Was that announced before or after?
I think it was announced after. I have heard about the Republicans for Harris.
Hey, man, Trump, he was on the road for a minute, man. He was on the road for a minute. Even though I believe he was going to lose to Biden, I think it would have been closer with Biden. But once Biden got out, and then he chose J.D. Vance, it's over for him, bro.
So you believe that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are on the path to victory?
Yeah, they gonna win, man.
Wow,
it's gonna win. It's over, bro.
Now I see in the comments while you're talking about switching to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, Raptor in the comments is suggesting that Biden was forced out. Do you believe Biden stepped down or he was forced out?
I mean, it could have been both. It could have been both. I think the fact that he did mess up in the debate, right? And then after that, he wound up catching COVID.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the party made the right decision.
Well, let me rephrase it. Do you believe Biden stepped down, or do you believe he was given an offer he couldn't refuse? Either step down, or we're gonna find a way to push you down.
I don't think it was like that, but in the terms of Godfather, yeah, we'll make you an offer you can't refuse.
All right. So,
but I think they made the right move. Now it's more energetic. Now instead of him being the oldest president, the nomination, for president, now Trump is the oldest one.
Yeah.
And now he's really just going off the rail, man. What he did to the journalists at the National Black Journalists.
That was bad.
Bro, you showed us, man. You do not like strong, positive, smart Black women.
Well, let me interrupt and respond to that, because we're on YouTube and TikTok simultaneously. One of the viewers on TikTok, Tinfoil Hat, since you're bringing up the black convention there in Atlanta, Tinfoil Hat says, never ask a black man about politics. How do you respond to that? I'm just giving you the credit.
That's how I respond to somebody named Tinfoil Hat.
Yeah. He says
he's a conspiracy theorist right off the top.
Okay.
But no, I mean, it's to me, man, it's just that, bro. It's now it's no excuse now. You have a 59-year-old woman who's smart, who's intelligent. You know, she's not a dummy by a long shot.
Well, not a dummy. Not you say not a dummy, but what about a DEI? Folks on the right are suggesting that Kamala Harris only got the job because she's either a person of color or a woman or a combination of both. What say you?
Hey, man, listen, man. She was the vice president. Normally, the vice president sometimes run for president.
True.
After it's up. So the DEI shit, that's just racist, bro.
Ooh.
You know, that's just racist because they don't have anything else to say.
Well,
you know, if you actually have something to say, oh man, she's a DEI hire. Okay, well, explain why.
Well, they're gonna say why because
and she's multicolored.
I don't know what all that shit means, but they're gonna say why. They're gonna say because she didn't earn it. They don't believe she even became vice president through her actually earning the position.
Hey man, you don't be a prosecutor in one of the toughest states. You don't be a prosecutor in one of the toughest states. You don't become an attorney, general attorney in the toughest state. You don't become a senator in one of the toughest states. That happen, man. Move on. Stop crying. You know, wipe your tears and decide what you're going to do with the old guy and the psychopath that he chose for vice president.
Psychopath? You say J.D. Vance is a psychopath? That's a bit heavy. Psychopath?
Yeah, he's a psychopath, bro. Donald Trump, I guarantee you, in private, he is regretting not choosing one of those brothers now, bro.
Wow. Who do you think he wish he had it chose?
Of course, it would have been another, white tea guy. But I think he should have chose someone just a little bit closer to his age, not as old as him. But all Republicans are liars, bro.
Man, come on now. You can't group up 74 million people with a statement. Every single Republican is a liar.
I'm not talking about the Republicans that vote. I'm not talking about the citizens. I'm talking about the ones that are in control right now. The congressmen, the congresswomen, the senators, they all lie.
Then I have to deflect and push back. Half of the Democratic Party or even more continue saying Biden had no mental health issues at all. What about the notion that the Democratic Party is full of liars?
I don't think he did have any mental issues. It wasn't a mental issue.
Cognitive decline?
Maybe. I mean, he's 80, 100 years old, bro.
And all of the Democrats saying that there was no issue with his cognitive health at all? You think that's
I don't think his mental health was a problem. I just think he just got too old.
Really? Okay, I think 70% of the Democrats wanted him to step down too. Last question I got to move it on, but before I move it on from you, last question. How do you respond in a world of Bernie Sanders, in a world of Elizabeth Warrens and AOCs? How do you respond to Republicans suggesting that Kamala Harris is as far left as the Democratic Party has ever gotten?
I don't know about that, man. I think she's a centrist myself, because, I mean, she is for police.
Yeah.
You know?
Used to work
she's
with
for
them.
Police.
Right. Used to work with them.
Right. So she's for police. So that's a closer to the center. But the fact that she's willing to make sure that the police is okay, and also the people that are being policed are okay. That's what I like about her, man. She's not.
You say she's a centrist. Half of my audience is going to think you're crazy, but is she center or left of Biden or right of Biden? Where do you see her in comparison to President Biden? Is she left of him, to the right of him, or in the same spot?
I say she is slightly right to him.
Wow. You think Kamala Harris is to the right of Biden?
Yeah, because she's not with the defund the police. She's not with the fact that you want to continue to bring people from down, from south of the border. She's not with that. She's going to try her best to make sure that people are not coming in here. She's going to make sure that that border is going to be protected well, but people will continue to come here.
Now, wait. You started out by saying she is not for defund the police when I asked you if she was to the center or right of Biden. You believe Biden was for defunding the police?
I think Biden was with whatever the people were saying especially during that time, 2020, because 2020 was a rough year. Not just the COVID, but with the protesting and everything that was going on in America at that time, man. So, I think he was leaning towards that. Okay. But let's be honest, man, without the police, bro, America would be batshit crazy.
It would be like Mad Max. I will tell you, I got to move it on, but I'll tell you this. I did a little research before coming on air. Kamala Harris actually did defend folks talking about defunding the police. I can't find any evidence of Joe Biden ever being in favor of anyone talking about defunding the police. So I think it's exactly the opposite of the way you have it stated.
Because every time I hear her speak about it, she always talk about changing it. It's not like we need more police. What we need is more mentally health for the police and for the people they're policing.
I'm just telling you what my research came up with. She actually,
that's fine.
Yeah, she publicly stated she was in favor of groups talking about defunding the police. And Biden, the only thing I can find on Biden is him publicly saying he was not for doing it.
I just don't think I don't think she want to defund the police, man. You have to be batshit crazy to try to defund the police in America.
No disagreement there.
Great show. You take care, and everybody else, kiss my ass.
Winged King. Appreciate you coming through. All right. Shout out to Della Reese. Moving on with the program. Wanted to address a super chat. Gay Bar, laughing my ass off or laughing out loud. She's not centrist. She supports a ban on, I suppose you mean a ban on private health insurance. That is a far left policy. Why lie? Yeah, I don't believe that Kamala Harris is a centrist. I do believe she leans left. And certainly in our tribalistic environment right now as we speak, if you're pro-LGBT, you're considered a far left radical almost. Certainly if you believe that transgender individuals should be treated equally, that's far left nowadays. That is far left. Same thing if you believe you should have background checks before obtaining firearms or anything. Yeah, that's considered far left. The definition of what is considered far left now has changed. What used to be maybe a little bit left of center in our environment now is considered far left. So, and my personal opinion is that Kamala's a little bit left of Biden, but I could be wrong. Some folks pointed out maybe Biden was just willing to go along to get along. So we'll leave it at that. Looking in the comments, who is this guy? It says, Glizzy, I'm your daily host. Feel free to come in here. You can criticize, you can compliment, you can state your case. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. Doesn't matter what your political affiliation is. We go left of Bernie Sanders to him having dinner with QAnon. All I ask is that you tap the screen, keep the algorithm going, get the likes up. We can certainly do that on TikTok right now. Get the likes up to about 20,000. We're around almost 700 of you in here. Tap the screen. Same thing on YouTube. Smash that like button. We're simultaneously on both platforms. And yeah, looking in the comments, before we go back to the box, the fairest host I've heard on TikTok. Now that touches me. Bob B, thank you for the accolade. Going back to the box, unapologetic black man Love the name. Unapologetic Black Man. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Kamala goes with Tim Walz. Unapologetic. What say you?
Oh man, what are we talking about today?
Tim Walz.
I feel like you've been I feel like you've been ducking my "I told you so." That's for number one.
What did you tell me that I didn't seem to take?
I told you that the Democrat Party was trying to, weekend at Bernie's Biden until the election. If not, he was going to drop out, and his legacy was going to be pushing Kamala forward like he did.
You're going in and out. Try that statement again. Thank you for the subscription extend. Move. Thank you. Appreciate that. Move to too. Try that again, Unapologetic. Your signal went out.
Oh, sorry about that. So I was saying that I think it was about a year ago, me and you was talking about Biden's state, his condition, and I was like, oh yeah, he's getting old in real time. Like he went from jogging around the White House to needing help. He got older in real time.
Yeah.
So his legacy, was going to step down and get it to Kamala. Yeah. I didn't believe me. Oh, he's not going to do that. He's going to run. I was like, he's going to step down in the next election, and he did.
Yeah. Your signal's kind of weak, but let me see if I can. You got a weak signal. We'll see if we can continue. Do you think Kamala made the right decision with Tim Walz, though? Yeah, we're moving on.
Yeah and no. I mean,
yeah, we got to move it on. Your signal's so in and out there. All right, Unapologetic. I do apologize, but your signal was making it. Not only was there a delay, but it was getting to be a little illegible. We'll keep it moving. And I do appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. Almost 20,000. I'm gonna certainly keep pushing that. Nope. He's a socialist. Wants everybody to be poor, says a user. So in other words, Tim Walz was a bad pig because you believe he is a socialist that wants everybody to be poor. Well, first of all, let's just be clear. There is no Democrat that's going to run for the nation's highest office that the right is not going to call a socialist. None of them. Every Democrat that has ran for president, probably for the last 20 years or more, they've been referred to as a socialist. I would submit to you that just about every Democrat in Washington is being called a socialist by their constituents. I'm talking Congress, I'm talking senators, I'm talking governors. If you go talk to those politicians, they'll tell you that there are people in their states calling them a socialist. Just like the right, every Republican has been called a racist by somebody. Because the Democrats often throw around the word racism because it demonizes. The Republicans throw around the word socialist. Every Democrat that runs is a socialist. Hillary Clinton, by no stretch of the imagination are the Clintons socialists. But they were certainly being called that when she ran for office. Looking in the comments, though, overqualified compared to Trump, says Ryan. Are you suggesting that Tim Walz is overqualified? Kamala Harris is overqualified? Or perhaps both? Wow. Going to the box again. Once again, Moo, the Tuxedo Cat. Good evening. Or evening. Wow, I'm ahead of time. Good afternoon, Moo.
What's up, man?
Now, I remember talking to you. I talked to you the day after they switched from Biden to Kamala. You were very happy. Kamala selected Tim Walz.
Dude, you have no idea, man. Oh my God, bro, the first progressive vice president in history, my dude. A true progressive. Finally, Tim Walz went into the National Guard when he was only 17 years old. Tim Walz balanced the budget of Minnesota. Minnesota has no debt. They have a surplus. Tim Walz takes no corporate money. All of Tim Walz's campaign money comes from unions. My dude, this man's gonna slaughter Trump. You guys are doomed. You're doomed and fucking gloomed.
You were very happy when they switched from Biden to Kamala. Now Kamala selects Tim Walz and you sound even happier.
Like, bro, oh my God. Do you understand the types of voters that this is? So Tim Walz is going to get you Pennsylvania. Don't worry about Shapiro at this point because Tim Walz is going to carry Pennsylvania. MAGA is so screwed at this point, my dude, because Tim Walz represents the blue-collar American worker, right? He is Joe the plumber, my dude. So now not only do you have the black demographic, not only do you have the Indian demographic, not only do you have the entire moderate Democratic demographic, you have the independents, you have the progressives, you have the rhinos that got left out. Bro, you've covered, like, so Trump is set to get beat in a landslide at this point. I'm going to call it. Trump is going to get beat in a landslide in this election, and Kamala Harris will get more votes than any other presidential candidate in history.
More than Ronald Reagan.
Yep.
Kamala Harris, really? This is a woman who ran for president and couldn't carry a single state. You think she's going to do that well?
Yeah, absolutely, my dude. So first of all, you need to understand what Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders and everybody else is up against. The Democrat corporate machine was for Biden, my dude, and it's very hard to stop the Democrat corporate machine. So it's not entirely Kamala's fault that she didn't do well. She didn't have the DNC behind her at that point. Biden did.
Yeah. But you believe that Tim Walz a progressive. You're going to put him in the same category with Joe the plumber and he's a progressive? I don't know if that makes sense.
Tim Walz is going to be president after Kamala Harris. Yep.
What are you saying? The Democrats? Wait, hold on. What are you saying? The Democrats are going to hold it down for 16 years?
You're going to have Democratic president for the next 16 years, MAGA. Enjoy.
Oh my God.
Enjoy.
I think you're being a bit optimistic, man.
And then after that, once Walz does such an amazing job, and America finally sees how good progressive ideology is, because this is one of the first opportunities they'll ever have to have a progressive in a vice presidential position, AOC is going to become your next president too. AOC is going to be president too.
Oh my, I think you lost a lot.
AOC is going to be president. Yep.
So we're going to go from Kamala to Walz to AOC.
Yeah, my dude, because you're finally going to have that progression from corporatist to progressive, and it's just going to keep on going from there, my dude, because Tim Walz is going to do things like he's going to get rid of the Social Security tax. And people are going to love that shit. Tim Walz already advocates to get rid of the Social Security tax for everybody except for the top 10% of the population. The dude's going to lower the Social Security age. He's going to get rid of the cap on Social Security. Americans are going to love it. And they're never going to go back to
But you said it's going to end with
again.
You said it's going to end with AOC. Fly Guy in the comments said he's been hanging out with Hunter Biden. Are you smoking some? That's what he's suggesting that.
I mean, listen. I'm not going to listen to people who support a rapist and a pedo anymore. I'm just not going to listen to you guys anymore, man. You support a rapist. You support a guy who lusts after his daughter and obviously did some bad things with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not going to listen to you guys anymore about what you have to say because you support a disgusting human being and you're disgusting people.
Wow.
That's it.
And I see Paul Sauce in the comments said, come November 5th, you bitches will get MAGA'd. So you really feel confident the Democrats are going to do it this strongly?
Oh, they're doomed, dude. They stand literally no chance at this point. So what you're going to see now is in about 2 weeks, you're going to start to see the polls shift in Harris's favor at this point, right? And it's never going to go back to Trump again. It's never going to go back to him again. It's over.
Wow. Even though she hasn't done a single interview, you think she got it in the bag like that?
Yeah, that's strategic at this point. She doesn't need to because Trump's making himself look real bad. J.D. Vance is making himself look terrible. She's strategically not doing an interview right now because there's still a lot of buzz around her, and now there's even more buzz around Walz, right? She's going to wait to do an interview to when it starts to die down so that she can light the scene up again and flood the zone. It's actually very strategic on her part. She's doing a great job.
I disagree with a lot of what you said earlier, but I do agree that strategically, considering that she is soaring in the polls right now, there is no reason to give an interview where MAGA or the right can tear apart her words and pick out bad parts. Why do it when you're very competitive right now?
Guy, like, bro, Trump is like, yo, he's gonna cook. So, bro, Trump can't even talk. So, Trump thinks Hannibal Lecter's a real person. Trump would rather get electrocuted than eaten by sharks. My dudes, Trump lives in a fucking fantasy world. He's not roasting Kamala Harris, folks. Your boy can barely walk down a ramp. He doesn't know when he has toilet paper stuck to his shoe. He changes the direction of hurricanes with markers. He lusts after his own daughter. He's a pedo. He essayed a woman. Trump is a disgusting moron, and people who support him are the same.
Damn. 74 million. You think they're all everything you just said? 74 million folks voted for Trump.
There's no 74. So 70 million people voted for Trump. Out of that, not all of them are MAGA. You're looking at about 30 million MAGA in total, more than likely. You're a very small portion of America. Nobody cares about y'all anymore, and y'all are about to get raffle stomped in this election.
I gotta tell you, Moo, with all of the gleefulness you seem to have, the polls don't reflect MAGA being beat soundly like you're talking about.
I said, wait 2 weeks, dude. My prediction is once Kamala Harris picked her VP, that the polls are going to start to shift slowly at first and then more rapidly. You'll see. It's going to happen.
Wow. And you think it's going to end up with AOC? I see somebody say, what if AOC had been the vice president consideration with Kamala Harris? Right now, I don't think America's ready for that.
Not a good pick. Yeah. It wouldn't be a good pick with a dual female ticket right now. America's not ready for that. Yeah. We need to break the barrier and have the first female president first. Then you can get into dual women tickets, which I do think we should eventually get, but I don't think we're there yet.
All right. I don't know, but you, like I said, you sound gleeful, so we'll run with that. I got to move it on.
Dude, this is great. It's great, man. They're gonna get slaughtered. Bye, MAGA. Bye.
All right, Moo. Calm down. Moo is very happy. Moo is a progressive. He's certainly to the left of me. We don't always agree. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, but he is exceptionally happy today. I don't know if I quite buy that the Democrats are going to be in power for the next, 4 or 5 elections, like you stating. I guess Kamala would get 2, Tim Walz would get 2, AOC, that's 5. I don't know if I see that, but who knows? We'll see what ends up happening. Looking in the comments, and I see somebody says, Team Cawthon says, I'm with Moo. We'll see. That's a bit much. There are folks in this country that lean right, a lot of them. I will say this. It all depends on what Kamala does while president. Wars breaking out, things like that. I understand a lot of folks are focused on the economy, but there are a lot of other things that are important. Gun rights, abortion rights, how dealing with Israel and things like that. There are other things. So that's one of the things that the right, the MAGA crowd goes for. Well, everybody could afford things. You could afford groceries when Trump was in office and things like that. Yeah, a lot of people agree with that. Yeah, thank you, Alter Ego, for the hat and mustaches. Thank you. Appreciate the support. Now, a lot of folks agree with that. But at the same time, if you ban women from having the right to choose in, 22 states, are women willing to trade in their abortion rights for $2 gas? So for some people, the economy makes, the economy is not the main concern for why they're voting. Even though the right is bringing that up over and over again, you could afford this and that when Trump was in office, but everybody ain't voting based on the economy. I bring up all the time that President Trump has promised to give police immunity from prosecution. That's serious to me. Maybe you have a different opinion, but going back to the box, appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. We should be around 40,000. Let me ask for 40. Almost 800 of you in here. Appreciate you folks rolling with your boy this is it Tuesday? Wednesday? Kind of confusing my days. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Whatever the case may be. You could be anywhere you want. Thank you for tuning in here. Voted for Trump twice already, and what Biden and Harris have left us, there is nothing that will stop me from voting for him again, says Frederick Packard. Well, you got about 92, 93 days. Trump 2024 it is. We'll see what happens. You see what my last caller had to say. Walz wants to feed kids, Republicans, and wants to take school meal funding. Wait a minute. Walz wants to feed kids, and I'm going to suggest it. I suppose you're trying to say that Republicans want to take school meal funding. I do believe that Republicans are not really favorable to any type of handout, even if you need it. The Republicans tend to be, critical of handouts. So there are places where, free lunch programs in schools are being cut out, and they are predominantly in Republican areas. So I see in the comments, David Spotting is saying not true. No, there are some free lunch programs in some public schools that are being cut out, and it's Republican politicians doing it. Shouldn't be that hard to research and find that out. There is some truth to that. Dencal, appreciate the underwater display. Thank you very much. MAGA Whisperer, that's new. Good afternoon, MAGA Whisperer.
Hey, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. Good to have you on. Tim Walz for VP. What say you?
I think he is a brilliant choice. He is an actual populist, not a fake populist. He does he does bring in the blue-collar people, and it's the blue-collar people that are supporting the fake populist of Trump. He's the one that's going to point out that they are all phonies, that they don't give a crap about them, and he's going to show his bona fides with all the good programs he's implemented in Minnesota.
Wait a minute, it almost sounds like you're trying to suggest that somehow, some way, with Tim Walz, in your opinion, being a real populist, he's going to take some MAGA voters and swing them over to his side. You really believe that?
Yeah, they're going to say, wait a second, but, this guy Trump, he made all these promises like he was going to give us better and bigger and going to cover more anybody health care than Obamacare. We're going to fix it, repeal and replace. Well, then he found out, maybe just repeal and then we'll figure out how to replace later. Yeah. And so it's all smoke and mirrors, just another con job. We knew Trump was a con man coming into the presidency, and he's been pulling the con job ever since. And that people are gonna eventually, those people are gonna say, but these guys are socialists. Maybe we should give that a try, because
I don't know. Tim Walz taking. Yeah, I find that one hard. I find that one hard to believe. Tim Walz taking MAGA and switching them over. And now in the comments, Johnny J11 says, Tim, where do you find these people? I find them among the Americans' constituent. Johnny, feel free to come up. We can talk to you, and you can correct what you believe is missing on the program. So, what is Tim Walz offering that's so significant, MAGA Whisperer?
Well, he's offering help for families that are struggling. He's giving free lunch for school. He's giving free college tuition. He's done things for health care. He's a very kind of liberal, progressive. People are going to think, maybe this big fake blonde hair phony, he hasn't really done anything for me. He gave the tax cuts to the rich. He talks a good game.
Fake blonde-haired phony. I'm going to assume you're referring to Trump.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just a big, fake tan, fake blonde hair.
What about folks who might point out, you can say he had a fake whatever, but he had a real economy, unlike what we're dealing with now. How do you deal with folks who point out his economy? They believe it was significantly better than what we're dealing with now.
Well, you have to be pointed out that he inherited the economy from Obama. If you look at all the statistics, it's just extrapolations from Obama. And it's one thing to take a bad economy and turn it into a good economy like Obama did. But it's another thing to inherit a good economy and then say it was all you, and then tank that economy and then try to blame somebody else.
So you believe that Trump tanked the economy?
Absolutely. I mean, you could talk about C-19, but the fact of the matter is he mishandled that so badly, worse than any other country almost in our hemisphere except for Peru. And that went a long way to really, he's the only president that ended up with less jobs than he came into the office with. I mean, he's a disaster.
Did you hear that number? Did you hear the job numbers yesterday suggested that under Biden, the job numbers are not that good anymore?
No, I mean, there's a slight dip. We'll see where it ends up. But overall, Biden has done an amazing job with the economy. And people don't see that because they get the economy, everything about Biden is shit mouth all the time. But he has very good rankings from presidential historians, whereas Trump is dead last.
And you feel
it's too much for his ego. So he says, Biden is the worst president. But actually, in several presidential historian polls, Trump is the worst. He's the most divisive. He's completely incompetent. He does not know what he's doing.
But we didn't have any major, international conflicts under Trump. Do you give him credit for that at all?
Well, you see, the thing is, we have to be careful because he seemed to be capitulating and favoring these very authoritarian regimes. We know he capitulated to Putin in Helsinki. He actually crouched down so he didn't make Putin look so short. And he goes over to Kim in North Korea just for a photo op. He didn't accomplish nothing there except embarrass our country by saying he fell in love with Kim and they sent love letters to each other. But that was just another photo op. Everything Trump does is a photo op. They try to take him down, and what he does, he stands up, exposes himself to additional gunfire, and raises his fist. Photo op.
Yeah, but that was you're right, it was a photo op. I don't know if he was thinking that at the time, but yes, you got to admit that's a pretty kick-ass looking photo. Everything is there. Yeah. You got the flag, you got him putting up his fist. Only thing is missing is a damn eagle landed on his hand. You got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, but he's an opportunist. Look at him. Look, if you see the video, he's pumping his fist and hitting one of the Secret Service agents in the head.
I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah, look at the video. Look at the video. He's being led away. One of the ladies, one of the female ones, he's just smacking her in the head.
Oh, my, did he really punch somebody when he did that?
With his arm, was hitting her in the head there, and she had to kind of duck. But the guy is nothing but an opportunist. He's a con man, and I think people are starting to get wise to him, and I think his support is just going to start to dissipate, and it's going to be a landslide for Kamala. I hope so.
You're my second, I think, or third caller that said Kamala's going to win handily. We'll see. We'll see. I got to move it on, but I don't know if I'm quite there yet. Let me move. Maybe I need to talk to some MAGA.
The Democrats are pumped up, and when you got the Democrats enthusiastic like that, watch out, man. This is Obama level energy.
Wow. All right. Appreciate you coming through. As Megan Thee Stallion would say, she got big K energy, or however that song goes. Let me go back to the box. Where were the Secret Service guns? There were guns all over the place. When that shooting took place, there were two men with long rifles on both ends of the stage. One of the women kept pulling her gun out and putting it back in the holster. There were plenty of guns there. I would suggest you go back and watch it again. Yeah, I love sabotaging my life. Voting to save, is that mediocrity? Okay, fair enough. Obama level energy, aka demons, coming out. I don't recall seeing demons during the Obama administration. Wow. By the way, tap the screen. We'll keep the program moving. Get the likes up to about 45,000. We can certainly make that happen if you let your thumbs not be lazy. I'm still trying to figure out is today Tuesday or Wednesday? Why the hell don't I know that? Is today Tuesday or Wednesday? Same on YouTube. Feel free to smash that like button. Get the likes on up to about 60. We can certainly make that happen. Tuesday. All right, it is Tuesday. Fuck Trump 2024 says, oh my God, says easy baby. I guess, when we say we believe in free speech, because I always constantly read out, fuck Joe Biden and what else is it? Let's go Brandon and all. So, I mean, hey, someone says fuck Trump 2024. They also are entitled to be read. There was no inflation under Trump, says JNC. None at all? Is that right? Isn't being charismatic a good trait, says Godot. I don't know. My baby mama didn't think so, but thank you for the compliment. Thank you for the hat and mustache. RP, shout out, supporting the program. Let me go back to the box. We'll keep the program moving. Kamala goes with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. I'm asking that question. Do you believe that was a good decision? One of my subscribers, Mr. S. Dots, I think that says, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Charisma helps. Thank you. Tampon Tim says Wayne Woolsey. I don't know. It's been a while since I had to put in the tampon. Maybe in a few weeks, I think I have to check my calendar, see when my cycle kicks in. Mr. S. Dots, good afternoon.
What's up, brother? How are you, man?
I'm just chilling. You think she made a good decision, Tim Walz?
She made a strategic decision. I'll say that because Robert Shapiro came with a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
It was either one, but I think the more strategic and the one that keeps the calm in the room and keep the energy up leading into the election was the gentleman from Minnesota. But I do want to go back on something.
Hold on, real quick. Derek, thank you for that subscription. Derek, I appreciate that. Okay, you want to go back on something. Keep going.
You said to the gentleman right before me that there was no conflict under Donald Trump. And I beg to differ that we have to remember we had Syria, we had Iran, we had Afghanistan, we had North Korea, and we had the trade war with China that killed the farmers.
Well, but the conflict now is infinitely greater than the stuff under Trump was. I mean, especially Syria. I mean, that was virtually nothing compared to what. Go ahead.
Can we agree to this? Under these two conflicts right now, they're both bad, right? There are no American troops on those soils
that we know of.
They're not supposed to be there, and you're right. As we know of, you're right. So, but under the Trump administration, our troops were actually on the ground, except for in North Korea. We know they wasn't there because that would have been catastrophic. I do think Kamala wins. I do think she wins, but I also believe that we have a lot of work to do as a country on November 6th.
Elaborate.
I because people like you, I've seen your platform several times. I don't say nothing. You're more one of the calmer, level-headed people.
Right, thank you.
And I appreciate that. And very respectful, by the way.
Appreciate it.
And I think that who you're going to support is who you're going to support, and people are going to support each candidate for very, very.
Okay, but you said November 6th, so we don't have any candidates to support anymore. What do we have to do?
No, we have to come together as a country, no matter who wins.
Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think MAGA will accept Kamala Harris winning and just concede?
And I think that's the problem, and that's why you see a lot more Republicans jumping to support her versus some Democrats that's leaving to support Trump because they didn't like it the very first time. If you felt you was cheated, the election was stolen or whatever have you, right? There's a way you do things. We use the court system. You escalated all the way up to the Supreme Court. I believe Donald Trump has more favor in the Supreme Court than anybody would have.
Well, he believes the courts were not treating him right, and the courts had to fix in. I mean, he did escalate it to the Supreme Court.
But you got to keep in mind the 60 courts. The 59 courts that said he was wrong. All 59 of them was his appointees.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm with you when you're right.
All 59 of them. So your appointee said, no, sir, you're wrong. And you have Republicans that came out and said, look, we're wrong. And I honestly believe if he would have handled this election, the loss, properly, I think that he would have had a clearer path to victory coming in.
I certainly agree that January 6th and his handling of his claims from the 2020 election are probably considered to be like a wound in the minds of American people. I do believe his repayment for what happened after that election, all the things he said and did, I don't believe he's really repaid his debt. I think the election you're talking about could be it. But I want to read something before we continue. Renee on YouTube, thank you for the super chat, stated every Republican voted against efforts to lower gas prices in July 2022. Stop complaining about gas, MAGA. What was that? What happened in?
So it was a inflation reduction bill, right? There was a bill that they did vote it down. It was several bills that they voted down to cut food costs and stuff like that. And I challenge anybody that don't believe it to go find, and it hurts me to say this, go find a lot of clips of Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Where she sits in the hall of Congress and say, we haven't done shit as a 118th Congress, right? And my issue is, we can say what we want about Joe Biden, and I've always said this about any president. They are signers of the work that Congress do, right? Yeah. Congress makes the laws and the bills. You learn that in grade school.
Right.
So the 118th Congress have the authority to do anything they want to now and force the Senate hand to say, these are good bills for American people. You could have put anything forward as the 118th Congress. The 118th Congress has been in place since for the last 2 years. And their claim to fame is getting rid of McCarty, getting rid of the guy, George, I can't remember, George Santos.
George Santos of New York.
George Santos, and not doing, and Hunter Biden. And I'm gonna be very honest. I don't give a shit about what Hunter Biden did with Burisma because I'm a father. I'm a father. I work for labor unions. If I can give my child a hand up, an advantage to get a job somewhere else, as a dad, I'm going to do it, right? So we can sit here and say Joe Biden did this and Joe Biden did that. At the end of the day, we can't deny it. Trump gave his children a job in the White House. Were they qualified? I don't care. He's the president-elect. He does what he want to do, right? We can't keep saying Hunter got $5 million and ignore that Jared got $3.3 billion, right? If it's wrong all the way around.
I can't argue with that. Yeah, I can't argue with. I mean, I do agree that any of us as parents, if we were in the position of Trump or in the position of Biden, we would probably use our prowess to help our children out. Which we're going to lead to this question: do you believe Biden should pardon his son?
He said he wouldn't.
That ain't what I asked you. Do you believe he should pardon his son?
No, absolutely not.
You just gave that entire, all of that shit you just said, you gonna leave your son in jail?
Let me tell you why.
Yeah, I do.
Let me tell you why. Because his son went through the process of the justice system, right? His son went through the process of the justice system. His son, you can't say as a president, I trust and believe in the justice system, and then turn around and say, okay, I'm a pardon my son.
Hold on. Let me make sure.
Let me finish.
You're killing me. Go ahead. You're killing me.
If I'm the president, I'm going to pardon my child before he even gets to the courts, right? You don't do it afterwards. I'm
all right. Okay, that's fair. Okay.
You don't do it afterwards because you can't, because then that's me saying, then now I would have to agree with everything everybody else is saying that the justice system is rigged. Because if you didn't do it beforehand and you let your son go through it, you thought your son was going to beat it, and now you're trying to excuse him. No, you should have pardoned him beforehand.
All right. I don't argue with that, but at the end of the day, if let's say, for instance, Trump does win, and make no mistake about it, there are millions of people expecting Trump to win. You going to leave your son in the system when your arch nemesis is taking power? I don't give a damn at this point. I'm pardoning my kid before Trump gets to something.
I'm not saying Joe Biden on January 19, 2025 won't do it. I'm not saying he won't. I'm just saying I'm answering your question as you gave it to me, right? And if it was me, and somebody said you can't do it beforehand, yes, you can. You can pardon your son of all crimes, pending crimes, and you can provide them all pending crimes.
Yeah, I'll just say this, because a lot of folks are saying, similar to what you're saying, you know, he did the crime, he should do the time and all of that kind of shit, mainly on the right, but some folks on the left like yourself are saying it. Trump wouldn't give a damn what image it left behind. He would pardon his kid. Who gives a fuck what anybody is saying? I'm getting my kid out. So for Biden to be trying to sit there and impress the right or put some image across is crazy. Knowing damn well Trump wouldn't care what image. He'd pardon his kid if his kid murdered somebody.
I got the better question for you. Do you honestly think Hunter's going to do jail time?
No. Because Biden's going to pardon him. Biden is going to pardon him.
No. Take the pardon off the table. He's going to get probation. They're not going to put him in jail. Listen, just like I tell people, like, look, I'll say this about Trump. All these cases he got, well, I'm not going to say all of them. I'm going to say the New York hush money case, right? Is it bullshit? Yes, it is. Very much. I'm an independent. Do I think that case is bullshit? Yes.
Okay.
Do I know it's a crime? Yes. Has people like Trump been getting away with shit like that forever? Yes.
Right.
And I think that's the issue I think that's the problem with him right now. And the guy from Shark Tank literally said it.
Yeah.
We've been doing this shit forever.
Yeah.
Right? Why is it a big deal now? It's literally a crime. It's literally a crime. So in that case, I do think it's bullshit, right? Now, if he wasn't Donald Trump running for re-election or Donald Trump fucking with politicians, would they have gone after him for that? No, because they have a small history of doing.
I don't disagree with any of that, but the same applies to Hunter Biden. If his dad wasn't in the position he was in, and Hunter Biden was just part of any other rich family, let's say he was part of the Bezos family or the Bill Gates family or anybody else, Elon Musk, they would have made a deal with Hunter Biden behind the scenes. So at the end of the day, he didn't shoot anybody with the gun or any damn thing. The same thing, if Hunter Biden had not been part of President Biden's family, he wouldn't. I mean, so his case is just as much bullshit as what you're saying about Trump.
I agree. Now that other stuff, the documents and the document case, I just feel like just give the documents back. Like what are you holding on to?
He refused to do that though.
I mean, then you can't cry about the what's the name, right?
Yeah.
You can't, and that's where I say we as a country have to get to a point, and that's why. And don't get me wrong, I used to heavily support Democrats. I chose to get off the Democrat party line and stay right in the middle because there's things that Republicans say that I do happen to agree with. But I think at some point, people have to let their blind allegiance go to the parties and look at what's real. Like I was having a debate with somebody the other day, and they was talking about the Trump case in New York, and I said, well, listen, if Judge Machon should have recused herself, Eileen Cannon should have recused herself as well. They're two of the same things, right? One donated to the Democratic Party, one was appointed by the Republican president, right? So at the end of the day, I think we as people, no matter what side of the aisle you choose to sit on, what you believe, you should always believe right is right and wrong is wrong.
Not in this advice. I get what you're saying, but we're so tribalistic. I don't know if that's going to happen for years to come. I got to move it on, though, S-Dots. I do got to move it on. Appreciate you coming through, man. Thank you. All right, moving the program on real quick. You are saying, what the hell? Ravens 25 fan says you were saying nothing. Be nice to the guests. What do I always say? You're going to have opinions that go left of Bernie Sanders from having dinner with QAnon. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. You can be critical of the host. That's how we do it. We don't believe in censorship here, at least as far as the TikTok gods are concerned. So that's how the program is run. If you enjoy free speech, civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, limit your opinion, tell you what you have to say, then you're in the right place. Follow the program for my TikTok viewers, a subscription on YouTube, if you will, because that's how we do it. Going back to the box or going back to the comment section. I couldn't follow along, honestly. I'm sure he made good points, says Sid. Okay, all right. Baker, the Republican Party has shown time and time again they cannot govern. I don't agree with that. They cannot govern if you lean left. If you lean right, they're governing quite well. So it depends on what your political affiliation is. I do believe the Republican Party is totally, in Republican states, they're completely happy. Ron DeSantis, for instance, he's not going anywhere in the state of Florida. They love him. So I don't know if I totally agree with you on that. Ukraine war started in 2014. Trump had 4 years, didn't solve it. Threatened North Korea and Iran to blow both countries off the map. He sure did do that. Attacked Syria in 2017, 75 missiles. I thought it was like 60 of them. I think he sent 60 missiles into Syria because one of them didn't work. And then the mother of all bombs, the Moab, he was bragging about that. But he gave Vladimir Putin all the notice in the world that was coming. In my humble opinion, he told Vladimir Putin something like, I got to make this shit look good. So give me something I can bomb, but make sure you get your people out of the way. That's the way I look at it. Very similar. Remember Iran a few months ago bombed Israel? but they gave them all a notice in the world that they were going to do it. We're about to bomb you tonight at midnight. We're going to send some slow flying missiles from about 600 miles away. That's the way Iran bombed Israel. And once these missiles are done, we consider it over with. I mean, it was just a bullshit bombing, if you ask me. And I think that's kind of what Trump did in regards to Syria. It was just a bullshit bombing. Just to make a statement. That really, I think he sent, like I said, 59 Tomahawks hit their target, which was essentially a runway in an abandoned airport. I think 6 people reportedly lost their lives. We don't know if that's true or not, but they said 6 people. Those Tomahawks cost $500,000 apiece. So he sent 60. One of them did not detonate or didn't work, but 60 Tomahawks were used. Each one, that's $30 million worth of missiles. Is there anybody who's going to suggest that anything at all was accomplished when Trump bombed Syria? That's $30 million. $30 million went to literally nothing. Let me go back to the box. We're talking about bombing, giving money to the Ukraine as a waste. That was $30 million. Is there anybody at all that looks back at Trump sending those Tomahawks to Syria and say, yeah, we accomplished anything at all? Let me go, because Russia's still in Syria, by the way. They haven't left. Denkow, good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Denkow. Kamala Harris went with Tim Walz. What say you?
Well, I think I've been up here before. Thanks for having me again, Tim.
Appreciate it. I thought it said Denkow. Says Derek. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I don't think it is the greatest choice whenever he let Minnesota burn. His handling of the entire George Floyd situation was just awful. I don't see her still even winning the ticket there. I heard some callers say that he's going to get the Republican vote.
Let me ask you this, because I got a video I'm making on this in regard, because Tim Walz is getting hammered for exactly what you just stated, and that is his poor handling. Folks suggested he handled the Black Lives Matter riots after George Floyd poorly, as you just stated. I want to ask, because Trump often referred to Black Lives Matter as a terrorist outfit. He tweeted out, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. So what I want to ask you personally, if you see a bunch of Americans, maybe African Americans or minorities, but they are Americans, looting a CVS or a Best Buy or a Target, do you agree with Trump that the solution is to kill them all?
I think tasing them. I don't think lethal force should be a thing. We've got rubber bullets now. We've got all kinds of stuff. Whether they're white, brown, purple, pink, I don't care. There's several things on my morality list of things that I don't tolerate. Thieves and liars and sexual predators are usually the very, very top.
So what do you think? What do you think Trump meant when he tweeted out, when the looting starts, the shooting starts? I don't think he mentioned anything about rubber balls or tasers. He said shooting.
Yeah, and I'm guessing it just came up with it or started saying it because it had a good sound to it. It was it rhymed.
So he used murder because it rhymed.
No, the looting and shooting.
Right, but that's murder. That literally
it is murder. It is murder. And I don't condone that. We can't ask. I mean, we can ask him, "Hey, do you mean to kill these people?" and see what he actually means by that.
Wait, come on, wait a minute, Derek. You ever heard the term shooting not used in conjunction with killing somebody? I mean, that's generally what you're trying to do when you shoot somebody. Am I right?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Right, okay. So
I'm saying that the slogan is just it was just a rhyming slogan. There is lots of different ways of doing it, and I don't know what his intentions were. His intentions might have meant to shoot and murder. I don't know. None of us truly know. We just assume because when the looting starts, shooting starts, that term, that key phrase.
Would it be understandable if people heard that tweet and thought that he was talking about you should kill the Black Lives Matter protesters and looters?
Like I said, I don't know
if my caller had a call. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Hold on. A Living Legacy said, I don't want a rapper for president. Because you said it rhymes. So you said he may have used when the shooting starts because it rhymes.
Yes. It's just a coined phrase that he ran with because it had a rhythmic sound to it. I don't know. I mean, it does go with each other. I don't condone the murder though, and like I said, we're not all going to agree with everything every candidate stands for right now, honestly. And I'm not a huge pro-Trumper. I'm a conservative. Vivek Ramaswamy would have been my first pick, honestly, out of all the candidates we had this year. I'm not. I think Trump just puts his foot in his mouth half the time, to be honest. Yeah. But I do like some of the things that he's wanting to do. Getting rid of federal payroll tax, I think that's huge.
Where's that money going to come from if you get rid of federal payroll tax? Because you hear folks saying we need to stop helping out the Ukraine. We need to take care of Americans first. If you keep giving the Americans who have money tax cut after tax cut after tax cut, who's going to do anything for folks who don't have, who are in need?
Honestly, there's lots of different ways. I mean, we need to have a little bit better checks and balances on our budgets. We have contractors that are price gouging, and everyone's just sticking their hand in this cookie jar and just take. We need to stop it. We need to stop the hemorrhaging of all of our money.
Wouldn't it make sense to take care of that stuff first before you start giving everybody tax cuts and forgiving? I mean, you haven't controlled the contractors. He hasn't said anything about all of this waste you're talking about. You're going to skip straight to the tax cuts without all of this other stuff being controlled yet. So the people in need, there's not going to be any tax money to help out Americans in need at all.
That's not true, though. Because what do say, let's talk about blue collar workers, middle class, low cap class. Let's talk about the lower income people. What do they do when they get their money?
They spend it.
They spend it. Their sales tax is right there. They're not losing it all. They're getting some of it back. It's going to be pushed into the economy, and it does work. Their trickle down does work to an extent. Right now, I agree. We do have greedy corporations. We have companies like BlackRock and these mega companies that are going out and buying up single family homes. I think that should be illegal. But I do believe in trickle down.
I don't get how
the more money I make, the more money I make sure my employees make.
Yeah, but you're talking about greedy corporations. You're talking about BlackRock and things of that nature. I don't see how you're going to solve that when you're the same side of the aisle you're on are against government oversight that would control greedy corporations. They're against minimum wage increases that would help out the poor. They believe in letting the free market decide, which is why you're complaining about all this stuff. We let the corporations make their own decisions, and they made bad decisions for the people. So how are you going to correct this stuff with that same mindset of let the free market decide, and I don't think we should intervene?
I don't know how to fix it. I just know personally, like me, like I said, I told you, I'm a business owner. I would have to, I've got 9 employees underneath me. A lot of what I've heard is that Democrats want to increase minimum wage federally to $15 an hour. In my area, it's housing's fairly inexpensive compared to most places.
What state are you in?
I'm in Oklahoma, and okay. I'm in a town of 60,000 people.
What's your state minimum wage?
$7.25.
When's the last time your state had a minimum wage increase?
Oh hell, it's been longer than 10 years ago.
Right.
Like.
So you're gonna tell
we need an increase because I don't even start my employees off.
But I'll tell you something. The government stepped out of it. They didn't force the corporations to give you a minimum wage increase, and the corporations responded by keeping the minimum wage the same. That's the free market. When you say trickle down economics works, clearly the corporations are not doing that. They're fighting to keep the minimum wage the same. No matter what they make, they don't want to pay you more. Your state is a perfect example of how trickle-down economics don't work. Otherwise, they wouldn't be fighting to keep the minimum wage the same, as you say, for at least 10 years or more.
I'm just talking on the federal level. at $15 an hour, we don't need the minimum wage in my town to be at $15 an hour. That's just crazy.
Do you need it to stay zero increase for 10 straight years?
No. I would get on board with federally across the board 10. That your cheaper areas, that's going to be fair. I'm telling you right now, if I got to go to 15, I've got to do that. I've got to make up that somewhere, because we're talking, I've got 9 employees. That adds up real quick.
How long you been in business?
Time and a half.
How long you been in business?
10 years.
Okay, so having a minimum wage the same for 10 continuous years, have you not been stacking cash? That's a hell of a benefit to a small business owner.
No. Like I said, I've never started an employee at minimum wage, though. The lowest I've ever started anybody at is 9 plus bonuses.
Okay, fair enough. And that's good.
My lowest paid guys with bonuses make probably 12, 13 an hour if you were to average it out.
Oh, fair enough. That's good on you. But what I'm asking is this: if everybody's crying out how much pain businesses will suffer if you make the minimum wage $15 an hour, why are we not talking about how much they're celebrating that the minimum wage hasn't moved for over a decade? If paying folks extra money will hurt them, giving folks zero raise for 10 years, shouldn't they be doing very well?
I'm sorry, it cut out. I got a text message. You said that after so many years.
Everybody, I'll repeat it. Everyone is crying out that if you forcibly give employees a raise, it's going to hurt businesses. But I'm asking, if you don't give employees a minimum wage increase for 10 straight years or more, why aren't we talking about how well the businesses are doing? In other words, if I give you a raise, it's going to hurt me. But if I keep your salary the same for 10 years, I don't benefit at all from that?
No, I don't agree with that, because most businesses, even McDonald's, I have McDonald's 3 doors down from me. They start their employees out at $12 an hour. There's lots of businesses here that don't, just because it says that's the minimum, that don't mean that's what they're going to pay their employees.
Yeah.
I hired a kid that his first job was at a grocery store that has always been known to do minimum wage, and I found out he was actually making $9 an hour whenever I hired him.
Well, I'll tell you this. Most of that is because after the pandemic, salaries went up to incentivize people to come back to work. If you went back to 2017, 2018, pre-pandemic, those companies were paying those low-ass wages. They had to do something because people were getting paid so low, the stimulus checks were keeping them home. That's the only reason why folks have now paying people a little bit more than what the minimum wage is because folks were not even going to come back to work. But if you go back during the Trump administration, those jobs were paying $7 and $8 an hour in real time.
No, the employee I was talking about was pre-pandemic. Okay. Like I said, he was a 17-year-old kid. They're actually 18 now when I hired him, but he was 17 when he got hired on at this grocery store, and he was making above minimum wage. And they're known to start employees out at minimum wage. That was pre-pandemic. I don't know what they're doing now. The thing is with a free market is if you feel like your value is more than that, typically you're going to go find a job that meets your value. Some people are okay with starting from the bottom and working their way up. I did. I started out at, we're talking 20 years ago, but I started out at $7.25 an hour or around there.
What do you start your employees out right now at?
All my guys start out at a minimum of 9 plus bonuses that we do weekly bonuses, and most of them on average, when they start, it averages out to about $12, $13 an hour.
Okay, because someone put in the comments that your $9 an hour in Oklahoma is below Oklahoma's poverty line. I don't know what it is there, but somebody did state that.
Maybe OKC, but in my area, I'm northern Oklahoma. Average rent here, we've got houses. I've seen one listed the other day for $600 for a 2-bedroom house.
Okay, yeah. Because I see somebody in the comments said all your employees are on welfare. I don't know. It's funny. I had to read it.
Nope, not a single one of them are on welfare.
And they would tell you that?
Yeah, I take care of my employees. There's been times where somebody says, "Hey, I've had this or this happen to my house. I need a little bit extra cash," and I don't want them going to the bank get loans. I've given them cash up front, and I'll take $25 a check or whatever until I get it back. And I'm sure you would readily admit 99.9% of employers don't do that. No, and I don't agree with that. Right. I do think I love capitalism. I love free market trade. I don't like the current day capitalism, though. Money hoarding and taking advantage of people, it's not right. If I did that, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I mean, I
gotta say though, I gotta move it on, but I gotta say your side of if you want to do that stuff as a capitalist, you want to take advantage of people say you got a corporation and you want to take advantage of your employees. Your side of the aisle makes that far easier because when the left tries to stop it, your side calls that socialism. Your side, if you're a small business owner, you don't want your employees to unionize, you don't want to be forced to give them health care, you don't want to be forced to give them an increase in minimum wage, your side of the aisle is where you should be voting because your side of the aisle makes it easier for employers to make their own decisions on what they want to do. And a lot of times they don't do what's right. I'll give you the last word.
I agree with you. They tend to lean that way, but it is both sides. It's not just my side. Both sides have put us in the situation we're currently in. Where I think it lies is money's got to stop running this country. We need to do away with super PACs. We need to do away with. You shouldn't have to be a multimillionaire and business owner to be able to run for the president of the United States. We got to fix this.
Yeah, system. And your side of the aisle at the Supreme Court also voted to allow bribes and the money you're talking about to continue. So you sure you don't want to vote left?
I'm definitely conservative. I don't care for the current tax system. Everyone needs to pay in 10% across the board, no matter what. You don't get to write deductions and say, okay, well, I did this and this, and now I don't have to pay anything. You pay in 10% no matter what.
All right. Appreciate it, Derek. First time talking?
Thank you.
Don't be a stranger. Come on back. All right. Moving the program on. Sean B., thank you for the generous super chat on YouTube. I wanted to respond to it earlier, but you said, Harris Walz 2024. Let's go. Say no to the weird guys wearing diapers and gold shoes. Who might Sean be talking about? Say no to the weird guys wearing diapers and gold shoes. Wow. All right, moving the program on. That's a hell of a combination. Rhyshine Powell. How about not saying when the looting starts, the shooting starts? When this type of jargon comes from a president or former president, his words alienate folks. Thank you, Rhyshine Powell. I could not agree more. I don't care if it rhymes. I don't care if it sounds catchy. You're literally talking about killing people for committing felonies or crime. A lot of folks are angry. They go in and loot businesses. Folks are losing their life savings or at least a large portion of their business. A lot of folks would wish death upon the looters. So if the president is making jokes about doing it, yeah, you certainly can create an awful situation because you are essentially giving credibility to some people's most evil desires. I mean, taking lives. Real quick, and I believe insurance or something should help you out, but even if it does wipe out your business, is the solution to murder the person? Wow. Jay Roger, Republicans have brainwashed their voters. There is no both sides on this. I've heard that from many. Looking in the comments, yes, they are losing a lot because of the Democratic policies. That's debatable. Because I understand a lot of businesses will say they were losing a lot if you increase the minimum wage. So, and that's a Democratic policy. Clearly, increasing minimum wage is absolutely not a Republican policy. If you look at every state minimum wage, every state has a different minimum wage. You'll notice all the very low states, all that $7 an hour stuff, it's Republican areas. Most Democrat states is at least 10. All of the 725 and 2024. Now, I understand my last caller said, well, we're not paying that. We're paying them 9. Even 9 in a lot of states, even 9 is below what a lot of states are paying. Let me go back to the box. Tap the screen. I haven't said that in a minute. We are a uncensored program. This is uncensored format. We go left of Bernie Sanders to having dinner with QAnon. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. You can be whatever you want to be in the comment section. Plus or minus the TikTok guys. Don't get too fucking ridiculous. But, we don't block, ban, or censor. You can feel free to state your point in the comment section. You can even be critical of the host. We don't mind that if it's civilized of sorts. You know what we're talking about. So tap the screen, get the likes up to about 75,000. Same on YouTube. Smash that like button. 110 can happen. We can certainly do that on YouTube. Real quick in the super chat. I just wanted to make sure I read everything there. Okay, moving on. Look at the South, shaking my head. Yeah, the wages in the South are bad. The wages in the South are bad. Going back to the box, what does that say? You plate snacking or something like that? Up late snacking. All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Up late snacking. Tim Walz, Vice President. What say you? All right. Apparently, up late snacking is away snacking. We'll move the program on. I tried to bring on up late snacking. Let's continue on with the one and only Den Cow, one of my subscribers. I always give my dips to the subscribers. We get a few of them here and there. Den Cow, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. So how do you, now I know you lean left, Den Cow. How do you feel about her choosing Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota?
Right now, I think it's an excellent choice. Obviously, we got to wait to see what types of attacks they're going to put on him. They're calling him far left. They're saying he allowed the whole city of Minnesota to get burned down. Yeah. They're saying, but that stuff is easily provable that it didn't happen. He's been a great, person down there in Minnesota. He's helped them balance budgets. He's done a lot of great things for Minnesota. So we got to wait to see, because a lot of the stuff is going to be organic. Trump's going to make up a name and stuff like that. But we'll have to see. But right now, I think it was a good decision. I think a lot of people thought it was going to be Shapiro, but for a lot of political reasons, I'm pretty glad. I'm glad she did.
I was thinking the same thing. First of all, Shapiro has an affair in his past, but his biggest detriment is that he happens to be Jewish. And he happens to be Jewish in probably one of the worst times. I mean, obviously, there are people on the right. You're going to hear terms like Zionist. You're going to hear terms like globalist. You're going to hear terms like George Soros. But even on the left, certainly Genocide Joe, in From the River to the Sea. So right now, it's unfortunately not a good time to be Jewish. I mean, it really sucks. I mean, the hatred is all over the damn place. So the moment I found that out, I'm like, wow, that probably is going to be a problematic pick. Even though the liberals want Pennsylvania, I favored the astronaut from Arizona. That's who I was looking. I'm thinking like that would probably be a safe pick. He certainly would have brought Arizona in because the McCain family don't like Trump and things like that. But we'll see what happens with Tim Walz. My guess is Kamala was already going to win Minnesota. So I don't know what Tim Walz brings to the ticket. What say you?
Well, they say he brings a lot of the what do they call it? The
progressives.
The progressives and the Midwest. The Midwest. The middle class workers. That kind of thing. They say he brings that, but I think letting Shapiro stay where he's at in Pennsylvania and use his popularity to get Pennsylvania, and allowing Mark what's his name in Arizona to stay there and bring his, I think was a good thing. I think her picking somebody that probably had the least amount of baggage, I think helped her.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see the comments. Somebody said the dude is a vet. I think he was a 24-year veteran of the Army National Guard. He says a teacher. I mean, he's a football coach and a great dad. I mean, yeah, overall, he comes across as
that's the Midwest, right? Yeah, that's a Midwest kind of guy. And, so he brings that to the table, along with his, he does have some progressive, some progressive ideas and stuff, but
yeah, but he's an avid hunter. He's got a military background. I mean, he seemed like he would bring some views from the right as well. I mean, he clearly is not anti-gun. He goes hunting himself.
Right, and so he takes that stuff off the table immediately. So when you criticize him, what are they going to say? They're going to say what happened in Minnesota happened under his watch. But what I want to dispel a lot of what I've already seen people try to say is they try to say he allowed Minnesota to burn, or Minneapolis. I'm sorry, Minneapolis. That's where most of the
the riots,
the protests and stuff happened. And so he actually was the one who called in the National Guard. People, about 3 days later, and people can look up the dates. 3 days later, Trump came out in a rally speech and said he was the one who made him bring in the National Guard, and everything stopped so he tried to take credit for everything that Walz did. So it's things, I know you, just like you say, well, people are not going to just look that stuff up.
No. I will say this in regards to the claim that Walz let Minnesota burn. Obviously, this is in regards to George Floyd, the killing of George Floyd. That town, Minneapolis, they waited 4 days to charge Derek Chauvin, even though this murder is on television. And that's what pissed everybody off. Like, why are you taking so damn long to charge him? I submit to you that any town would have burned under that same circumstance. Otherwise, the only other option would be what President Trump said, when the looting starts to just go in and kill them all. So are the right suggesting that Tim Walz should have just went in and mowed them down?
Well, they would be down with it because he didn't do it. But if he would have did it, they would have called him the worst person in the world. Yeah. Like, look, no offense to the one of your earlier callers, but he said that the main things he can't stand is liars, people who sexually assault women, and thieves.
I already know where you go with that shit. Go ahead.
I'm gonna let people just let that marinate in their head that he's now who he's voting for. But also he said stuff like, I'm down for trickle down economics and all that kind of stuff. When if just using his logic that trickle down somehow helps the people, then why aren't the people that work for Walmart or Google or all of these people who hire thousands of people, why isn't it trickling down when they're getting record profits? Like, when you say it trickles down, where does it trickle down? I appreciate for him saying that he pays his employees a couple dollars extra when he gets more money. But the fact is, when all of that money from Trump's tax cuts was repatriated from overseas, because remember, when he lowered the tax rate, that allowed them to bring all of those foreign profits from overseas back home. Those companies took all of that money and did stock buybacks and gave all of the executives pay raises and bonuses out of this world.
Yeah, that is where the left in me kind of kicks in. I don't believe in trickle-down economics. I've worked for big companies like AT&T and United Parcel Service. Usually how trickle-down economics work, if the company is having record profits, the employees generally get a pizza party. That's usually what happens. You're going to get a few slices of pizza in congratulatory thanks for what you've done. That's usually all trickle down. It doesn't result in a raise or you getting a bunch of stocks or shares, or it results in you getting a few slices of pizza. That's usually what happens.
Right. So when people are running around saying, well, this is not my opinion, but there's a lot of people on the right running around saying, look, this is the worst economy ever. Everything is exploding. Everything's going to shit. We can't afford to buy food and all of that stuff. How is it that these same companies are still making record profits if trickle down works? It doesn't make any sense. And another thing he said was about, we got to get money out of politics, when he is literally voting for the party that put in Citizens United, who made a company a person and allowed them to contribute as much money as they want to these politicians. And now we got somebody like Trump saying now he's in love with electric vehicles now because, hey, I got to, because Elon Musk threw me a bone. Like, this is the reason why Elon Musk can do that now. He can say, I'm giving this guy, and then he can try to hide it by saying, well, I'm not giving it to him. I'm giving it to one of his super PACs.
Well, Trump is one thing. If Trump is good for one thing, he does reward loyalty. So, like the African American woman that was on stage with him in Atlanta, she probably gonna be set for life after that shit. So, shout out to her for doing that. I mean, she probably gonna get a good job.
She was the one there at the Wendy's or wherever they was at the chicken spot.
The Chick-fil-A.
When they was handing out, they was handing out milkshakes because somebody told them, "Don't do the fried chicken. Don't pass out the fried chicken."
Yeah, that wouldn't. That ain't gonna look right. I get your point, but yeah, that woman is gonna do well in life. At least and if Trump gets elected, she'll be doing very well. We'll see what happens if he doesn't get elected. But if he gets elected, she's gonna be doing very well. I mean, that's just he rewards loyalty. So at the end of the day, you believe out of all of the choices, Tim Walz had the least amount of, let's say, scandals or bad things orbiting around him. You think she made the right decision?
As far as I can see, you never can tell because Trump is he's had a way of getting people to dig really, really deep into people's, into their backgrounds and making stuff up and making people believe it. So I'm not beyond that, but I think right now she's in a good situation. I'm kind of agreeing with Moo. I don't think she should really say anything. I think that we should allow people to their things about her should be, oh, well, she's not black, and oh, she slept her way to the top. We should let those marinate as her negatives and not come out and give them anything more than what they need to have. And I mean, he does it the same way. That's why he didn't debate with none of the Republicans, because he said, why? I'm ahead. Why should I go out there and talk about
He did say that. You're right. He could use that same verbiage back at she could use that same verbiage back at him. You didn't debate when you thought you were ahead. I'm ahead. So according to you, I don't need to debate. Wow.
Right. I mean, why not do the same things he does? Because for MAGA, everything he does is great. So why not imitate him? Why not use the same sleight of hand that he does to accomplish the same goal? You don't have to admit that you followed everything that Joe Biden did. Because you were the vice president. Your job was to uphold his policies, not create your own, not talk about what you would do, not have a secret platform behind your back waiting for him to fall out the race. You come up with your own ideas, and some of them may be controversial or whatever, but you can stem the bleed of a lot of those voters who weren't going to vote for Joe Biden simply because he was old.
All right. Fair enough, Cal.
Hey, just one more thing. I just wanted to say, this is, a question that you had asked a couple of days ago about whether Joe Biden had been forced out. And the reality of it is, nobody could force Joe Biden out. He had to step down on his own.
But could they have told him something? Could they have told him something he didn't want to hear? Like, if you don't step down, we may start investigating other avenues.
Well, then they forced out is them using the other avenues.
All right.
You can persuade him without forcing him out.
Threats.
And the last thing is, I'm glad they picked Walz because it's cool to now have a black woman with a DEI selection.
Wow. And that's exactly what he is. Cal, appreciate it. Come on back through. And by the way, what he's talking about, there's no denying that the vice president, Kamala Harris picked somebody and she was deliberately, intentionally targeting a white male. There's no denying that was the goal, is to pick somebody white and somebody male. So when he says the vice presidential selection is a DEI candidate, that's what he's talking about. And I agree. I mean, she wasn't going to pick any, because folks are saying Pete Buttigieg, which also is a white male, by the way, but I think the liberals realize you can't pick anybody with any minority affiliation at all. Now, Pete Buttigieg is obviously a member of the LGBT community. So Shapiro being Jewish, like, you need a straight white Christian male as your running mate. I think most folks realize that. And so if that is the case, then he would be a DEI hire. I certainly agree with that. Looking in the comments, something bigger is coming. I don't know what, well, state your case. What bigger is coming? I want to speak on the riots with you, Rio. We'll certainly talk about that. In regards to the riots, I just want to say this. You got the way Tim Walz handled it, which the writers suggested was wrong. But at the end of the day, President Trump suggested shooting them. I mean, he didn't say, do anything else. When the looting starts, the shooting starts. Now, I guess we could pretend or suggest that he was joking, or as one of my guests said, he was using a rhyme. Is President Trump known for trying to make things rhyme? Some folks are really able to defend Trump in the most unique ways. I don't see where Trump was trying to make a rhyme. Let me go to another one of my subscribers. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. We're asking did Kamala Harris do the right thing in Tim Walz? What is that, Samad? How do you pronounce that name?
Here's James. It's James spelled backwards.
Okay, fair enough. So, James, what do you think? You favorite Tim Walz?
I really didn't care who she elected. I mean, I would have hoped that she'd have picked another woman. I know everybody says, well, she needed a man. No, she could have done another woman.
You think Governor Whitmer of Michigan?
I really didn't have a pick in the VP. I mean, she's got enough backing to carry it, I think, personally.
You think she got a chance to win?
I know she's got a chance to win, Bub.
Wow.
I hope anyway. I may have to do what the Republicans have threatened to do several times and leave, I mean,
what's so bad about Trump? We had 4 years.
He's doing this whole Christian nationalist thing and everything else. He's a wild card, and he's too big. He's just too crazy, He keeps the news packed out, Yeah, Putin probably didn't move into Ukraine because he didn't know what Trump would have done, Yeah. So, and that's not the type, you don't want those type of folks in leadership, especially the most powerful country on the planet.
But some would suggest,
their subordinates.
But you got folks suggesting that under Trump, people could afford to feed their families, put gas in their car, and folks are generally doing better.
Trump helped OPEC and Russia make up. They were fighting. That's what folks also keeps on forgetting. Before COVID, Russia and OPEC was fighting, and Trump claimed he made it all better, So gas prices go back up. So which way is it,
Yeah.
He was trying to, because we are exporting energy now. It was hurting us that the oil prices was down and stuff, or hurting our corporations. So
you don't see Trump as doing a good job. I mean, you don't see Trump as having done a good job when he was in office.
Not at all. I mean, from the moment he walks in, he destined us to have this outbreak with COVID by removing the members of his staff that could have actually told him better ways to handle it and not let it go all over the place. And then made the whole thing out to be a joke. And I got to admit, the Democrats on the other side wanted to turn the damn thing political too, but that's only because he had showed his racism when it come to, stopping immigrants from other countries and stuff. If he hadn't pandered to that type of politic, maybe everybody would have been better off. Maybe we'd have closed the China border quicker. I don't know what we would have done, but it would have been better than what Trump caused it to be.
Wow.
So
we've had 4 years of Biden just about now. How do you think he's done?
He's done pretty good in the situation that he come into. Trump had forced the inflation rates way too low for way too long, and instead of letting the Federal Reserve calm down and slow down the economy, and then Biden gets in here and the economy's running away. That's part of what caused all this inflation. He puts these tariffs in place, causes the supply of goods to go up to the consumer. That's all inflation. Would you
have given Biden a second chance if he stayed in?
Oh, I didn't have no problem. But my biggest fear that Biden would step down and we wouldn't have somebody to pick up like Harris has.
Oh,
that was my biggest fear, that we would get into a fight. So I was pro-Biden stay-in because I didn't know exactly how the Democratic Party would be towards another nominee. I didn't want to see the fight and stuff like that, especially this close.
So how do you feel about folks how do you feel about folks who might suggest that under Biden, we're damn near headed to World War III, and under Trump, globally, things were a hell of a lot more peaceful?
It was a false peace at best. I mean, at best. And plus, we had the pandemic for most of it. Everybody was trying to take care of their own.
Wait, that's not true. Wait, hold on, that's not true. The pandemic didn't kick in until very late, like November or December in 2019, and Trump's term ended toward the end of 2020. I mean, Biden got sworn in January 2021, so 3 years of Trump's term, there was no pandemic.
Well, he was going around kissing a lot of ass that he shouldn't have been kissing. So
what ass did Trump an ass kisser? Whose ass did Trump kiss?
Kim Jong-un's, Putin's, different ones. I mean, so, and again, he was a maniac. You know, anybody with any sense wasn't going to do anything that might got him a chance to hero play, you know?
Is that not you're basically saying the bad people or the bad guys on the global stage was not going to do anything because they feared Trump using that as an excuse to play hero? Is that not something that would make us happy, where the bad guys know not to get stupid because our leader might kick their ass? I mean, isn't that not a good thing for Trump?
And until you get somebody like Kim Jong-un that's liable to play stupid games too. So they don't give a shit.
Yeah, but he wouldn't admit.
You get two idiots leading a fight, everybody's dead, you know?
But even under Trump, Kim Jong-un was even kind of reined in. I mean, obviously Trump went and met him, went on his soil and met him, which is historic. But under Trump, even Kim Jong-un he really calmed down. I'm not saying he didn't act a fool a little bit, but even Kim Jong-un calmed down quite a bit under Trump. Does he get any credit for that?
Credit for going and stroking the ego of a maniac? No, not really. I mean, nobody went over there to do that because we didn't want to give him that sense of okayness. You know what I'm saying? Not okayness. We didn't want to, boost him up on the world stage anymore, you know?
How about the notion that we've been
that heroic?
Okay, how about the notion that we've tried hating Vladimir Putin, we've tried hating Kim Jong-un, president after president after president, it's getting us nowhere. And maybe Trump, operating under the phrase, keep your enemies closer, was trying something different. Do you give him credit for that?
I might have to give him a little bit of credit. I did not agree with Clinton when he told Putin that he couldn't join NATO. That was bull. There might have been a chance there to where we could have not been in this situation here. You know?
Wait, you want Putin to join NATO? Wait, what are you saying?
Well, back after the USSR fell apart and Clinton was in, Putin had asked about joining NATO. At the time, we were pretty good. We had pretty good relations. Yeah, and Clinton basically told him to go fly a kite. So there's no way that Russia would ever join NATO. So, and at that point, it did kind of instill in Putin that it's Russia against the world. So.
All right, I haven't heard of that.
Bad diplomacy there. A real bad move. So
we missed a chance to let Putin join. I suppose if Putin joined NATO, there would not be a need for NATO.
Overall, no. I mean, and it kind of would have, for situations like North Korea and other areas that might, cause trouble throughout the world, Yeah. But we also see how, Russia also played this ball. I mean, I keep on hearing about these Budapest memos, and they both kind of all agreed not to attack each other if Ukraine would give up her nukes,
right.
You know what I'm saying? But that didn't play out too well.
Fair enough.
Clinton may have been right. I don't know how that would have played out,
Well, we'll never find out at this point. James, I do got to move it on, though. Appreciate you coming in. All right. Thank you. Moving on with the program, by the way. And We pulled out of the Paris climate agreement deal under Trump. Yeah, Trump came into power and literally attempted to break every deal we ever got into. I didn't favor that. Now, I know a lot of folks, my beloved MAGA, believe that those deals were bullshit and never should have been made to begin with, such as the Iran deal, NAFTA, the Paris Accord. Now, even if those deals are bullshit, let's say MAGA are correct. Those deals, the Obama making the Iran deal, those are all bullshit deals. They are not in the best interest of the United States. Let's say Trump is correct about that. The reason I'm against breaking those deals is your word is all you got, folks. Your word is all you got. Let's say, for instance, you're looking to buy a new car. You go to the dealership. The owner of the shop is not there, but his wife is there, and she sells you a car for an exceptionally cheap rate. Sign the contract, you drive off with the car, you make the damn payment. The next day, her husband comes to work, and he looks at this deal. This was a bad deal for our shop, and he shows up to your house the next day with a tow truck demanding his car back, even though his business, being operated by his wife, signed on a dotted line, making the deal valid. How would you view that car dealership? Would you ever do business with them again? Point being, if all it takes is, if I make a deal with you, and all it takes is the next guy who's in power to believe the deal was bullshit and undo it, why would I ever make a deal with you to begin with? Why would you make a deal with any United States president if all it takes is for the next guy that gets elected, it's a bullshit deal, and undo it? The point I'm making is that Trump showed America's word to not really be that valid. All it takes is whoever we elect after you, or whoever your country elects after you, sir, if they don't agree with this deal, what guarantee I have the United States is going to continue to honor it? So I do believe what Trump did, even if folks believe it was in the best interest of the United States, it really showed that our word cannot be trusted. And by the way, we all know America has a history of breaking fucking deals. I mean, we've been breaking deals since we've been a country. That's why the whole term Indian giver was created, because we used to make treaties and deals with the Native Americans and then break them when it fit our needs. We would just make a deal. They agreed to it. And when we thought we could get something better, we would just break the deal with them. Obviously, Saddam Hussein being accused of attacking his own people. Well, that's because George H.W. Bush, Operation Desert Storm, Desert Shield, back in 91, told those folks, if you rise up against Saddam, we'll help you. And then when they rose up against Saddam, we went home and he slaughtered them all. So then you got 10, 15 years later, his son coming in there. Well, he's killing his own people. Yeah, because his people listen to you fuckers. So I'm not a big fan of breaking deals. Even if it's a bad deal, once you make the deal, you got to honor your word. And Trump showed that the United States cannot be counted on to honor its word. Looking in the comments, by the way, tap the screen, get the likes up to about 95,000. Better yet, we could probably do six figures. We could probably do 100. We still got almost 900 of you in here. So definitely appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen, showing your appreciation. On YouTube, when Trump believed Putin over our intelligence agencies in the press conference was a low point, says AC. I don't have any... I typically can play devil's advocate and see some of the points that favor Trump. But yeah, putting the word of Vladimir Putin over our intelligence agencies, I don't have a comeback for that. I don't know why Trump would do that. I don't know why he did that. And I will say a lot of, MAGA who kind of gave Trump a pass on that would not have given any liberal a pass on that. Putting Russia's word over our intelligence agencies. There's none patriotic about that. There's nothing patriotic about that. Let me go back to the box, though. Thank you, folks that are tapping the screen, getting the likes up. We can probably make 100,000, certainly. I haven't had a caller, a right-leaning caller today. That's odd. My TikTok audience, you guys are wow. Real quick, thank you, Incredible. Saying Kamala is a DEI hire is a bad move for the right. Let's face what it sounds like. It's a euphemism for not wanting minority people at the top. It could be both. It actually could be both incredible. I think Biden kind of verified by making it clear he was going to pick a black woman, black. So she is a DEI hire to some degree. But she is a DEI hire, period, because Biden made it clear what he was going to do. But my pushback is, since when does that fucking matter? We know almost every president we've had, at least up to about 1970, you knew ahead of time that person was going to be white, Christian, and male. From 1776 to at least 1976, you knew that. So when folks suggest that Kamala Harris is a DEI pick, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm countering with, they all are. They all are DEI picks. You think a woman, a person of color, a Hispanic, a Native American, you think any of them had a chance out of the first 40, 45? You think some of them don't have a chance now? They all are DEI picks. We just didn't call them that. You knew that person was going to be a white Christian male. That's what you knew for the majority of the presidential elections throughout our history. So they all are. Going back to the box, Biden might have already had picked her and notified. Well, he came out and stated he was going to pick a black woman. You're saying he might have already done it in his mind. It's possible. It's possible. Vacay Sean, good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Vacay.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
We spoke last week.
Huh?
We spoke last. I apologize. Give me just a moment. I'm going to grab my headset.
Sure. So looking in the comments, I like that lady that spoke at the Trump rally. That was from Chick-fil-A. She spoke the truth. I'd vote for her, says Linda K. Well, she certainly spoke on behalf of Trump. Many suggest that Trump should hire her. I saw her speak. Trump gave her a kiss, said he didn't know if he was going to go back home to the first lady. It was a really good screenplay. So she was a good speaker for MAGA and on Trump's behalf. Vacay, are you there?
I am here. I'm so sorry about that.
That's
my
okay.
headset just didn't want to work, so I had to change it out.
That's okay. Kamala Harris.
Last week, so super appreciate it. We spoke last week about why I, a Republican registered person in the state of Florida in a very red area, will be voting for Harris.
Wow.
And
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember what we talked about. What was the reason? Why would you go from the likes of a loving Ron DeSantis to someone like Harris?
Well, mostly because of the education stance was a big part of it. Also, women's rights. But we had a brief conversation about abortion rates in Texas in the last 18 months. That was me. I'm really excited about Walz just because he is an educator.
Yeah.
He
Former
originally from the
teacher.
Midwest. That guy is like my Midwest dad. I wouldn't vote for my own father, but I would vote for this guy. Like, this guy seems pretty chill, so I'm a big fan of that.
I hear he's quite funny and humorous to be around, like a TV sitcom dad.
You know, I don't know a whole lot about him, so I'm definitely looking forward to learning more about him and where he stands on a lot of things. I know he was in Congress, and he did lean a lot more centrist.
Yeah.
As a governor, he's been a lot more progressive. So I'm kind of excited to see, how it goes and where he's leaning into. I like him a whole heck of a lot more than I like J.D. Vance, who just seems to be quite a chameleon who will say whatever to whoever.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Women's for J.D. Vance movement. There has to be some of them out there because there's not a lot of women that are speaking favorably of J.D. Vance.
I don't get it. I just think he's way too much of a chameleon.
Wow.
I wouldn't choose to go out to dinner with that man. That's for sure. Not asking, but
he has a wife that's a minority. I mean, does that show that he's willing to at least court the minorities?
I'm fine with that. You love who you love.
Right.
Like, I'm fine with that. Do I think it makes a person less racist? I don't know. I think everybody has their prejudices. I certainly wouldn't call him a racist based just on who he's in a relationship with. I wanted to ask you, my question for you.
Sure.
Do you find that far-right people, I'm talking the extremists, the real hardcore MAGA folks, do you think they're using DEI more as a slur than...
Well, it certainly ain't a compliment. Yeah, it goes beyond just a description. Yeah, there's certainly a slur. It's not when they refer to her as a DEI hire. Yeah, because they're either saying she is a DEI in regards to her gender and her race,
Sure.
or they're using the acronyms to mean didn't earn it. There's nothing complimentary about calling Kamala a DEI hire.
Right. Like, I think, as a woman in America, I think being called a DEI hire or worse, having people saying that I or Kamala or any woman slept their way to where they are is just patently offensive. And I think Kamala is going to get a lot of women behind her based just on that being thrown out there.
Yeah, I think it certainly is a moment for Kamala to seize in terms of gathering women's voters. I think because Trump has said a few things that has angered some women, but J.D. Vance took it to a whole nother level. I mean, so I don't think J.D. Vance did anything for Trump, particularly with women.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
Not maybe with like Ashley Home Furniture. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you this: you do have married Christian, predominantly white women who believe that the husband should be head of the household and make all the decisions. Those individuals would favor J.D. Vance. Like the Bible, let the man lead and all of that. Them women who are going to do what the husband says, them women might favor J.D. Vance.
Well, I certainly hope that they take the opportunity to learn for themselves and maybe they just let their husband think they voted one way rather than the other.
Oh, so you mean tell their husbands they're voting for JD and Trump, but when they get in the poll, do the opposite?
Yeah,
Wow.
Tick that other box. Tick any other box. Don't tick a box at all. That's also a choice, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Wow.
I honestly, I wish we had a viable third party. I really don't think Kennedy is a viable third party, but you're of the same age group I am, I think. I don't know. I'm really terrible at picking ages, but
early 50s.
You were. Oh, okay. Well, I'm late 40s, so
yeah, it's close
we're
enough.
in the range, my friend.
It's close enough.
Yeah. So you remember Perot and how he was probably the most viable of the third party candidates, and we've been hearing, you and I, since that time that really it needs to start at the bottom. But I don't understand how we can convey that to younger voters, that you really have to start with lower level governmental offices, your local elections, just to get the ideas out there.
Well, folks pay attention to what's on television, and we don't really talk a lot about the importance of lower ballot races. Even though I agree with you 100%, they are very important, but the national race gets all the attention.
No, it certainly does.
Yeah.
It certainly does. I think once we would be able to get a third-party candidate getting some traction in those down-ballot roles, show them what you can do. I mean, isn't that how we all prove ourselves, right? Nobody starts at the top unless you're Donald Trump and you get $1 million from your dad.
Why are they going to say Kamala Harris kind of got the role that way too, though?
To an extent, sure. Yeah, she definitely had some privileges.
Yeah.
She definitely had some privileges. Her parents were immigrants, so do I think that they were necessarily privileged coming here? No, I think they probably worked their asses off too.
Yeah. Do you feel confident she can get the job done?
I do. I feel very confident. And I feel like Walz is a great choice to further that as well.
Fair enough. And I think every caller I've had so far, I haven't had one liberal that's really crashing Walz. I think he's going to be a fan favorite, at least among the liberals and certainly the progressives. I got to move it on to vacay. Appreciate you coming through.
Thank you.
Anytime.
We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Appreciate it. Good talk. I'm sure this host won't vote Trump, says Frank Official. I don't believe, not likely because of the police, the promise to give police immunity from prosecution. I don't believe everything about Trump is bad. I think Trump did some good things when he was in office. I don't believe that he's just like the boogeyman. But I do believe the Trump we're getting in 2024 is different than the Trump we got in 2016. A lot of folks are pointing out the economy sucks under Biden. You got wars breaking out, things like that. Let's go back to the good old days. I could go for some mean tweets and $2 gas, et cetera, et cetera. The Trump we getting in 2024 is not the guy we're using as an example to compare to Biden. In 2016, 2016, when Trump got elected, came on the scene promising to drain the swamp, build a wall, get the border under control, strengthen the economy. You weren't dealing with abortion bans all over the damn country. You didn't have a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court with a potential of it becoming 7-2. As I keep bringing up, he wasn't promising to give police immunity from prosecution. It's a different guy. He is a different guy in 2024. There are other things to add to the mix that didn't exist in 2016. So I understand, this is to my beloved MAGA, I understand you're going to promote his strong points, which is the suggestion that the economy was strong. But those abortion bans where you got Lindsey Graham, Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell, and Trump himself saying they could go federal, that wasn't even a dream when Trump got elected in 2016. If the liberals had stated, and I do believe some were saying this, if you elect Trump, you're going to have abortion bans, they were being accused of Democratic fear-mongering back then. Well, it's a reality now. It wasn't a reality in 2016. Everybody was being told that was old news, it's been litigated, you don't have to worry about that. And I don't ever remember anyone saying that the police were going to get immunity from prosecution. So I will tell you, it's a different guy. Simple as that. It's a different guy than it was in 2016. Look at it in the comments. And by the way, the Supreme Court just gave him immunity and didn't even define what immunity was. He didn't have that in 2016. He's talking about going after a few folks. Jim Comey, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton. I mean, he's talking about he wasn't doing that. None of that stuff in 2016. Different dude. Looking in the comments, D-Talk says, you don't know what you are saying. Correct me. I don't have all the damn answers. Maybe you do. That's why we run an uncensored program. If what I'm stating, in your humble opinion, sounds like a host who's full of shit, correct it in the comments. Or better yet, come in the damn box. We'll let you speak. No censorship. That's how we do it. Don't just type in the comments you don't know what you're saying without any damn commentary to follow. That helps no one. Correct me. That's how we do the program. Looking in the comments, the American workforce is the most diverse, equitable, and inclusive workforce in the entire planet. I do believe America is a exceptionally diverse country. I don't totally disagree with that. Going back to the box. Appreciate you folks that are tuning in. Takesha Bowie's been holding on. Good afternoon, Takesha. No one on the right. Not getting a lot of right-wingers today. What the hell? Takesha, good evening or afternoon.
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing good. What do you think, Tim Walz?
I like him.
Every Democrat seems to like him.
I had to go back and research him. The more I read about him, the more I like him. I like that I know he's gonna be a beast when it comes to that debate between him and the fabric fondler.
Every time you come with a new one. Last time I talked to you, you said J.D. Vance made it unsafe to check between your couch pillows for coins. Now you're calling him the fabric fondler.
Yeah, the fabric fondler. Oh yeah, J.D. Vance. It's gonna be a good debate, I tell you. Yeah. I'm pleased with the selection.
Okay. So, and you believe that J.D. Vance would lose in a debate to Tim Walz?
He's going to lose regardless to Tim Walz, but all Tim needs to do is put a couch on the stage between them, and JD's going to be so focused on that couch that he's not going to be able to be focused on anything else.
What the hell you do? Put a couch and you put a wig on one of the pillows or something, a blonde wig at the end of the couch?
You ain't got to put no wig on it. He loves furniture. It doesn't have to have hair. Just fabric.
My God. Jesus Christ. All right, so I don't even know what to do with that. You know, by the way, speaking of putting a couch on stage, I think, wasn't it Clint Eastwood during the Romney-Obama years, he got on stage and talked to an empty chair and pretend like it was Obama? So we have had props on stage before. It has actually been done. How confident do you...
As a matter of fact,
Yeah. How confident do you feel that Kamala Harris is likely to win?
I told you the other day, I have no doubt she already won. I'm not concerned. I have no concerns that Kamala is going to win this election. None.
I guess I got what would amount to a more deeper question then. How would MAGA, in your opinion, how do you think MAGA is going to take Kamala Harris being victorious if that happens as you suggest?
Man, they gonna throw their sauce meat out the refrigerator. They gonna put their bats on the back of their back, and they gonna ride down the street on those riding lawnmowers, yelling, "It's time for war." Yeah, that's what they gonna do. They gonna be all right, Joe. I mean, come on now, handsome. They gonna be all right. Bless their hearts. Oh. It's gonna be ridiculous out here in these streets. But nobody's afraid of MAGA but MAGA.
Wow.
I don't know why y'all afraid of MAGA. I'm not afraid of MAGA.
Now, I guess,
y'all need to quit making MAGA think somebody is scared of them.
Well, Luke B in the comments on YouTube says this country is done if she wins. What do you think that means?
Oh, bless his heart. So what does that mean? That she's done her job and it's going to be really good? I agree. It's going to be done the right way. Yeah. The country is going to be done with racism. It's going to be done with losing. It's just going to be done. He's absolutely correct.
You believe
it's going to be done. It's going to be done with Trump. That's what it's going to be done with.
You think if Trump loses in November, he's going to go away?
He's going to go to Russia, and he's going to ask Putin to put a bed in his bedroom so they can share rooms like twins.
Oh, my God. Keisha. So I had somebody on the program suggest that 78-year-old Trump will run again at 82. By the way, Biden is running at 82. I think Trump would probably be around 83 because Trump is a little bit older than Biden 4 years ago. So right now, Trump is the oldest president.
Let's just be honest. At 78, Trump isn't doing any running. He may, try to get in office, but he's not running anywhere except for his cheeks. Now, listen, handsome, because I called him leaky cheeks.
Wait a minute. In defense of Trump, he ain't falling down either, though.
Doesn't matter. He's leaking by the cheeks. He's slurring his words. His toupee is getting shorter by the day. Stop it, handsome.
All right. I'll give you the win on it. So you feel pretty good with the Harris-Walz ticket?
I really do. I really like him. And like I said, this is going to be a great debate because he's going to take LaFabric Fundler all down through there because Fabric Fundler, mine is on nothing but downing women who have no children. That's not going to get it. The difference with this campaign and what Trump is used to doing, Trump is used to name calling and, getting away with it, hyping up people with all that. He has nothing on Kamala.
Yeah, you're suggesting that Trump is used to name calling. You do realize Fabric Fondler, which is what you're calling JD Vance. That's a name. You're name calling.
We're allowed to do it now. We're allowed to do it because JD came out with the Catwoman stuff. He came out attacking in ways he should not attack. Nobody is really... Let me tell you something, handsome, what I've noticed. If you pay attention to Trump's rallies, now he's trying to set up the stolen election talk again.
It never went away.
He knows it's over.
Well, He's been claiming the election was stolen from day one. I mean, that never went away.
He's talking about this. He's talking about this when he said that, he said Brian Kemp, we're trying to set something up. I don't know what it is, but they're trying to steal the election in Georgia. But I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're trying. Go back and look at it.
Yeah. I don't even have to. I know every time Trump is on stage, because I went to 2 of his rallies, I don't think he's ever had a rally where he didn't suggest that the Democrats are trying to steal the election.
But listen to this one. He's already setting it up for Brian Kemp because he had that rally and then he lied and said tens of thousands of people were outside and then he claimed that you couldn't see them because they had pushed them so far from the building that they weren't in the view of the camera. He said all that. Yeah, I watched it. Because I looked at Mississippi Mud when she got up that line and then we went and found her mug shot from when she got arrested. So she need to get somewhere and sit down.
Wait, but you saying the black woman, the Chick-fil-A girl? Really? What did she get charged with?
One of the charges was driving with a suspended license or without a license. But they mugshot mates. So they in the same area with the mugshots. So of course she gonna get a damn simp for Donald Trump.
Well, she's simping, but it's probably gonna turn into a career for her. I mean, she's a good speaker.
Let me explain something to you. She ain't finna get nothing.
Is that what?
She ain't finna get nothing. She not finna get nothing.
Oh, come on. You don't think the Trump administration is going to hire her? She is a good speaker.
Listen to me. She going to be just like Diamond and Silk.
Diamond and Silk, one of them's dead, but the other one, they were not good speakers. That man went
to the funeral and said he didn't even know that lady. Stop it, handsome.
He did do that.
Stop.
He did do that.
You don't remember him saying that?
Yeah, he did do that. Yeah, he did do that.
Okay, thank you. Now, handsome, this is what I want to get on you about before I get off this little.
All right, give me what you got.
I saw a video you posted where Kamala was talking about what she could do as a prosecutor.
Okay.
You remember she was giving an interview?
Yes. She talked about how she could easily arrest anybody.
Why you didn't post the beginning of that video? Why you posted right when it seemed like she was saying she did stuff crooked when she was a prosecutor?
Yeah, that's what I got my hands on. What else is there?
Well, you need to, let me tell you what you don't do, because I want you to be a good little young man.
Oh, okay.
I want you to stop posting clips of videos without watching the whole video, so you'll know what to post and what not to post.
You sounded like MAGA. What did I miss?
The whole interview was basically talking about people in power and how they look at their jobs when they have power. And she was explaining how her being a prosecutor could have looked at her job in that way.
Well,
I want you to go and look at the entire video.
But you do realize 1,000 of her cases actually did get thrown out.
Sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to go and I want you to research Kamala Harris. And there's a page, I gotta find it, but I read it and it goes all the way down to fact check everything that was said about her. And I think you'll learn a lot of stuff that you don't know.
Fair enough. I did the 1,000 thing. I didn't believe it first because somebody told me 1,000 of her cases had been through. I went and looked at them because I didn't believe it. There is validity to that. So I'll follow up with what you're talking about.
Yeah, go and get some real, because they were saying she had locked up 1,000 and some men.
Okay.
You remember that? You remember they said that?
So let me be honest with you. Kamala Harris running it for president in 2024. Because if it was Trump, nobody would give a damn what happened in the early 90s. I'm not really concerned what she did as prosecutor. It's so damn old at this point. I mean, it is what it is. Prosecutors do that kind of shit.
And let me make this statement too. You can't lock up nobody who ain't did nothing. So if you don't want to be locked up, don't do nothing to get locked up for.
What are you, pro-police now? I don't know about that one. No, innocent people get locked up. I'm just
being honest. What I'm saying is this. We got to stop blaming people for the actions that we take on our own. That's all I'm saying. Just because the lady was black does not mean she's supposed to turn a blind eye and just let all the black people do what they want to do and never do anything about it.
Well, let me push back on that one pretty hard.
Push back like a lawnmower. Come on.
Just because a person committed a crime doesn't mean you have the punishment should fit the crime. So you could have a bad guy in front of Kamala, the prosecutor, that gets over sentenced, which is what California was doing during the era of 3 strikes. So when you say that, go ahead.
Do you know that she kept most men that were arrested out of jail by the program she started called the Back on Track Act, where she even got their records expunged. They had to go through a program and they didn't even go to jail. See, I need you to research.
All right, well, I'm going to say this. Kamala Harris was in the justice system as an attorney general, a district attorney of San Francisco. For so long, there's going to be plenty of bad cases and plenty of things she did good. I don't give a damn. It's 30-something years ago. So, go ahead. I'll let you wrap it up.
I understand all that, but I just want you to start posting videos that people don't just clip to make her look bad. when there's a reason for what she said. That's all I'm saying. That's just like if I made a video of you saying, you know how you play devil's advocate sometimes?
Yes, I do.
And I just start a video at you saying what you're saying to be devil's advocate, but I don't post why you...
You're talking about context. I get your point. You're talking about context.
Yeah, it'll make you look like you said something that you really didn't say.
All
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
Can't argue with that. All right, fair enough.
That's all I was saying.
All right, thank you for the tip, Takesha. Good talk.
Okay, my love, but listen, don't you come on thagging no fabric now. Stay away from JD Vance.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right.
And I will reiterate that point. As a prosecutor, there's going to be good things that Kamala Harris likely did and bad things. Now, folks might bring up that she overcharged somebody or somebody got a sentence that they didn't deserve. But think about how many rapists or murderers that she probably rightfully put away for the rest of her life. That's not going to come up either. I mean, no doubt, if she continued to get reelected and literally climb the ranks in that particular field in California, she was doing a good job. So everything she did in California wasn't bad. But in my opinion, as I stated, it's 30, 40 years ago. It's of no concern. When Trump was president, people were bringing up all his ex-wives and people were bringing up, businesses that failed in casinos. What were MAGA stating overwhelmingly? The common response from MAGA was, I don't care what he did before he became president. I care what he's doing while he's in the White House. All of a sudden, Trump does his term, Biden comes up, and what he did during the early 90s is suddenly in play. Now Kamala Harris, what she did in the early 90s is suddenly in play. MAGA didn't give a damn what Trump did in the early 90s. So I do want to bring that up. This is how the Democrats can sometimes hang themselves. What she did in the early 90s is irrelevant to me. Whether it's true, whether it's made up, it's 30, 40 years ago. During a time when Trump was identifying as a Democrat and talking about assault rifles bans. You think the right cares about that? Look it in the comments. She has a dreadful record in California. She helped turn San Francisco into a hellhole. Like I said, I could care less. It's 30, 40 years ago. Think of how many of these aliens are murderers and disturbed, says Lada de Lada. I don't know how many aliens are murderers and disturbed, but I can say with confidence the right is overstating it and greatly exaggerating the numbers. I can tell you that. I don't know how many aliens are coming in this country and mistreating and harming people. I do believe there are people who are doing that. There are legal immigrants that come to this country and commit crimes. But I definitely believe when we're talking about illegal or undocumented immigrants committing crimes, the right is overinstating it by, square root numbers. I'm talking like exponents. Really, really overstating how many, and using the counter argument as well, one is too many. No, but you're saying it's millions. You're saying it's millions. It's not that many of them coming here taking people's lives and all of that shit and sexually assaulting folks. They're making it sound like it's just really, really bad. Now I'll tell you before I go back to the box. Words and fabrications have consequences. Right now, there's an immigration problem in the United Kingdom. Very similar to, in fact, all first world countries, many second world, many developing countries have a problem with immigration. If you're doing better than your neighbor, people are going to want to come to your country. Even the Chinese have issues with North Koreans trying to come in their country. So that's not something that the United States is dealing with exclusively. However, in the UK, a country that also has an immigration problem, they're dealing with a group of far-right individuals that are similar to some of the extremists among the MAGA crowd, suggesting that immigrants are coming there and killing everybody. There is an ongoing case right now where a alleged Muslim immigrant, I believe he was accused of stabbing and killing someone or something of that nature. And the far right in the UK started using that as an example, as an excuse to go after a hell of a lot of immigrants. Now, according to the police, the person is not even an immigrant. He was born in the UK. of Muslim descent. 3 children. That's what happened. He stabbed 3 kids. So they're using this as an immigrant is taking the life of 3 of our citizens. So their anti-immigrant fantasies have blown up. They tried to set fire to a hotel full of asylum seekers. Literally surrounded the building and tried to burn them all up. Don't ever believe it. That can't happen in this country. For you folks who know a little bit about World War II, the Night of Broken Glass, referred to as Kristallnacht, very similar among the Jewish folks, where the Germans just used that night to literally live out their purge fantasies. That could absolutely happen here if you believe all undocumented immigrants are here to rape and murder people. Words have consequences. I want to point that out. Look at it in the comments. Dumpster fires are done every day in California. I don't know where the word dumpster fire came in. They were trying to set a building. They put them in a hotel, just like in New York, like in Chicago. A lot of those immigrants that Governor Greg Abbott sent up north, they're putting them in hotels and things like that. They tried to set the building on fire and kill them all. Like the left exaggerates police brutality on blacks, says Jeanette. I don't disagree that when it comes to police, there are no shortage of people on the left that paint the police to be worse than they are. But the right don't see racism when it's minorities. The right will tell you all day that whites are being mistreated in this country. But the whites don't see racism against minorities. It doesn't exist. It does not exist. So I get your point, but it goes all over the damn place. Going back to the box, tap the screen. 130 can certainly happen. Appreciate you guys have been participating with that. Black man has my vote. There's no black man running Andy Joe, but thank you. No one sees misogyny, not even BM. What is BM? Black men? No one sees misogyny. Yeah, I think what you're saying is true, but I need to get clarity. RP, one of my subscribers. Good afternoon, RP.
Tim, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Tim Walz as vice president. What say you?
I think it was a good and smart choice on VP Harris's ticket. I think what you see is that she's being looked upon from her opponents as a far left candidate.
Do you think she is?
I wouldn't put her far left.
Give me an example of a Democrat that's far left in your opinion.
A Democrat far left. Let's see. Like AOC, I think would be considered far left.
Okay, all right.
Right, because their views, even for some people on the liberal side, are kind of out there, right?
True.
But I think Tim Walz brings in a level of, well, first of all, respect, but also too a level of being able to unify things from both sides of the aisle, right? So from the left and to the right. I know he was one of the more popular, respected congressmen while he served in Congress. I don't know a whole lot about him, but from what I've researched and looked up on him, he seems like he's real respected. He's a veteran of the country. He fought for the country, and so he did a good job as governor in Minnesota as well. There are obviously going to be some digs at some things that maybe he could have handled better, like the George Floyd situation. But make no mistake about it, it would have made a difference who she picked. The right, or I shouldn't say the right, excuse me. The MAGA would have found something to say.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I've made a video about that, and folks are suggesting that Tim Walz is far left. Fact is, you're correct. Anybody that Kamala Harris picked for vice president would be considered far left. Any of those folks, from Pete Buttigieg to the Shapiro, even the guy in Arizona somehow would have became. I mean, anybody he picked, because that's a word to demonize people. Any of them would have been considered far left.
Yeah, I agree, and I was actually hoping that she had picked Mark Kelly.
Yeah, I liked it.
I just think, yeah, I liked it too. I think kind of for the similar reasons, more so I know he's a veteran as well. And also, I know he went through the story with his wife who got shot in the face and all kind of stuff. And I think he just brought a level of respect to that VP pick. But I think either way, I think Tim Walz is a good choice, a very strategic choice. And so that's good on her for that choice.
Yeah, I mean, if the only counterpoint is that he didn't handle the George Floyd killing right, yeah, I don't think that's going to hurt him very much because, first of all, the Democrats have a totally different opinion of what happened to George Floyd than MAGA does. I mean, because MAGA don't even believe the police killed the guy. I mean, they believe it was either COVID or what was the other one? He had a heart attack or something like that. So MAGA doesn't even believe fentanyl. He either passed away of COVID or fentanyl, if you ask MAGA. So I don't believe that his handling of the George Floyd killing is really going to hurt him that much with everybody else that is not MAGA. And MAGA wasn't going to vote for him anyway.
Correct. They're not going to vote for him regardless, even if that didn't happen. But let's take that for a second, right? You're talking about George Floyd and how he viciously murdered on camera, by the way.
Right.
And people are still denying that this man lost his life due to violence by the people who are put in place to protect and serve.
Right.
So, I mean, it's kind of hard to put any stock into anything they talk about or they say, because they're basically anytime you get fact, whether it be on paper or whether it be a video, they still find a way to deny it or turn it into something else. So it's kind of you kind of lose with them, because no matter what you do, they're not going to listen to anything you got to say, because they just so bent on voting for their guy.
I don't totally disagree with that. I had somebody in the comments not long ago state that the left often fabricates stories of police brutality, and that was my counterpoint, is that the right doesn't see racism. For instance, you can talk about the left making up stories where the police were the bad guy when they really were not, and it was an actual justifiable shooting. But if the right believes that George Floyd was not a victim of police brutality, then, like you said, there's no credibility there. I mean, it's on video.
Yeah, but again, we can get into a whole big conversation, but I won't do it. But like, it's crazy because racism does exist. Number one. Number two, there are multiple incidents on camera, on video, of people losing their lives, being beaten up, all these things, and they are black men or black women. Now, I will say to that point that I do believe the media over sensationalizes things, but it does not take away from the fact that it happens.
They're doing it for they're doing it for likes and clicks. What was the name? Because when I brought up George Floyd and suggested that the right is going to defend the police no matter what is the name of the woman that recently got basically killed in her kitchen by that cop? Because you got officers. What is her name?
Yeah, go ahead. Sonia Massey.
Yeah, Sonia Massey. You got Officer Tatum, who is you got an echo. RP, you got an echo. Did you make a change over there?
No. Let me change it back. Hold on a second. I didn't make a change though.
Okay. You got Officer Tatum, who is a right-wing, I believe he's a former cop. He's certainly a Trump supporter. He leans right, suggesting that life was actually a justifiable killing. So when I say that the right does not acknowledge police brutality, they're looking at the death of Sonia Massey and saying that was justified. So we can talk about the liberals fabricating stories against police, but if the right can look at George Floyd or Sonia Massey and see the police doing nothing wrong, I don't see where there's credibility in that. Real quick, go ahead. Okay, real quick, see it on YouTube. Said I have seen the United Kingdom protester, far right, screaming like he was possessed by a demon. I swear, yeah, those protesters in England, far right, is racism oriented. They don't like immigrants, and yeah, I would tell folks, look it up. It's on YouTube. The news stories coming out of there, because that could happen here. But go ahead, RP.
No, I was just going to say, to your point, I've seen a video with Officer Tatum also trying to justify the police shooting Sonia Massey in the face as she's ducking down. But people like him and Candace Owens and people on the right, in the history of the right that I know, since I've been alive, they oftentimes victim shame, right? And most times what they're victim shaming is black people.
So it's not like, they're out to fight for or make things right by us. They're fighting to keep that narrative out of the limelight. That racism exists. That these things happen to black folks. It don't happen to them, so they don't understand it, and they don't want to understand it. So,
well, you don't have to. It doesn't happen. You don't need to be on the ground with somebody's knee on your neck to understand that that's painful to the dude on the ground. I do believe oftentimes the right does turn a blind eye to what, in my opinion, sometimes is obvious racism. And I see in the comments right now, Philip Holmes says, make a hero out of a crackhead in reference to George Floyd. As you just talked about, shaming the victim. Okay, let's say he's on crack, but did he deserve what happened to him?
It's kind of sickening, man, because you think about this. Like Kyle Rittenhouse, he killed people. They made him the right I'm talking about, made him a hero, right? Yet a man who gets killed, somehow the drug addict, he's a felon, he's a criminal, so I guess he earned it. Right?
Well, in defense of Kyle Rittenhouse, that was an act of self-defense, though. They were trying to hurt that guy. He shouldn't have been there. His actions were irresponsible and stupid, just like the rioters. But at the end of the day, the people he shot were trying to hurt him.
Okay, I gave you that, and I won't argue that point. But think about this, and I'm gonna leave this point alone because, like I said, we can go and think about this here. But think about how many mass shooters there are in this country, right? Now, there are a number of them who get killed, but there are also a number of them who get arrested, right?
Right.
But there are black people, innocent black people, who get murdered and they're not armed at all. Numerous. Yeah. And we've seen it time and time again. The age range does not matter. They can be, young teens to full-blown, adults. It could be male or female, does not matter. So for a half of the country or some of the country to think that this doesn't happen, it's insulting. But I would just say basically it's willful ignorance. If they don't, it ain't that they don't exist or they don't know. It's simply willful ignorance.
Yeah, I think I would agree more with willful ignorance because a lot of people feel like if we admit that some of these folks are acting wrong, it'll embarrass us all and make us all. No, just because you happen to be the same color as the person doing something stupid, it shouldn't reflect badly on you. I don't look at the crime in Chicago and think, well, damn, I'm not doing it. So I would not turn a blind eye to crime in inner cities because the people look like me. So having said that, you shouldn't turn a blind eye from people committing acts of racism if they look like you. I mean, just simply admit what's going on. I believe in just simply telling the truth.
Well, apparently the answer to solving the crime issues in inner cities is unleashing the police, let them do what they want to do, and not hold them accountable.
That is apparently what Trump is suggesting. I got to move it on RP, but you're correct. Trump is suggesting to lower crime in democratic cities. The solution would be to give police immunity from prosecution. I vehemently disagree with that. It's frightening to me, but he did say that.
That makes two of us, man. I'll let you go. Have a good one, Tim.
You too. Moving on. And by the way, that would probably mean that the killer of Sonia Massey and George Floyd, immunity. I mean, he did say that. He also stated that he believes giving them immunity would give them their power and their respect back. I don't know how giving police immunity will give them their respect back. Here's what I do believe. A lot of folks conflate respect with fear. If you're scared of me, you'll respect me. So what I believe, let's say the likes of Trump or somebody else, has seen one too many minorities talking shit to the cops, fighting back with the cops, refusing to comply with the cops. And the mindset is, if they knew that cop could beat their ass and get away with it, I bet they'd respect him then. That's not respect, that's fear. But I do believe that is the mindset. Some folks believe, listen, you've talked so much shit, maybe it's about time they put them hands on you and you'll learn to respect them. That's what I believe he is talking about doing. Maybe I'm wrong. Looking in the comments, and I see in the comments, Chill said that is BS. Hard to say, but one thing we can say for certain is he did state he's going to lower crime in liberal cities by working with Democratic mayors and Democratic governors and he's going to get a police immunity from prosecution because it'll give them their power and their respect back. Those are quotes. We can interpret it a million different ways, but he did say that. I don't personally see how giving police immunity from prosecution makes things better. I believe personally, if you give police immunity, it would bring the crime down in liberal cities from folks that maybe look like me who are committing most of the crime, but it wouldn't bring the crime down. It would just change who's committing it. All of a sudden, the African-American community, which is who is committing most of the crime now in liberal cities, would be lowered because they're facing the wrath of the police. And now the biggest criminals will be the cops. And some folks have already suggested that if you give police immunity from prosecution, guess who's going to join the police force? Racists. People who can now live out their fantasy due to the promise of immunity. So, and by the way, there was a time in America when black folks were not committing a lot of crime, and the police had virtually immunity in black communities. And it is exactly like what I'm describing now. The police overstepped their boundaries and did some really bad shit. I don't know why folks believe that if you go back to the past, none of the past will come back alive again. That makes no sense to me. Look it in the comments. Tim, your thoughts on Trump in Egypt, 10 million. I don't know what you're referring to. Twain to square, I don't know quite what you're referring to. Black people committing most of the crimes is laughable. Sean Wallace, I disagree. In big liberal cities, I do believe most of the crime is being committed by African Americans. I do believe that. Maybe you view what I'm saying wrong. Maybe you see it. You can take it a million different ways. Feel free to correct me all you want. But I do believe, and I've lived in Milwaukee, Dallas. I've lived in Chicago 30 plus years. And I've lived in areas that were predominantly African American in those times. And that's where most of the crime was. That's where most of the open. Now, that's not to say children may have not been abused in white areas, or maybe the wife domestics were happening. White collar crimes are taking place. But we're talking about the blue collar crimes, carjackings, murders, robberies. It's predominantly done by black people. Crimes of opportunity. It's predominantly done by black people in liberal cities. It's different types of crimes. All right, now I don't disagree with that. Any whatever the name said. What happens to the the Mississippi black officers in Memphis? I believe they got readily charged for that. Those guys who beat up. Are you talking about the folks who went in that black man's house because he was a black dude living next to a white neighbor or something? I mean, Mississippi has had a couple cases in recent memory. MAGA believes Trump will empower white supremacy. Cool, calm, collected. You believe that? You believe that MAGA thinks that Trump is going to empower white supremacy? Wow, that's scary. Appreciate the subscription, James. Thank you very much. Appreciate you folks tapping the screen, get the likes up to about 140. Still got almost 900 of you in here, and a lot of folks do state they believe that Trump will empower white supremacy. I see that on both platforms. Wow, that's great. That's bad. But now we have a YouTuber, channels devoted to causing problems with video cameras in libraries, police stations, etc., mainly for the purpose of suing police officers. David H. says that. In other words, people are provoking cops. And that does happen, audit. Folks walk up to the cops, open carrying to see if the cop is going. Here's the problem with that. It shouldn't be considered as provocation. If I walk up to the police and I do something that's 100% legal, and he escalates the conflict because he doesn't know the damn law, what I'm doing is not provoking him. What I'm doing is legal. He just don't know the fucking law. Cops often react in a bad way when they see somebody open carrying, for instance. If you're in a town that allows open carrying of firearms, you're supposed to know the law. If somebody says a curse word to cops, sometimes they will escalate the situation. You don't know the damn First Amendment and you got a badge and gun? You're supposed to be the one enforcing the law. You don't even know what the First Amendment is. Sandra Bland is a perfect example of that. She's deceased because she was exercising her First Amendment rights. So it's not provoking the police. When you say people are on YouTube with cameras and shit, no, it's essentially an audit that the police are not familiar with. They're not used to being audited. They're not used to being held accountable. They're used to getting away with shit. That's why the cameras are frightening them so much. It should have been done years ago, before Steve Jobs invented the iPhone to give the public cameras. It took for the public to receive recording devices before the police finally started facing accountability. Because IAB, Internal Affairs, their own leadership, their own supervisors were never going to hold them accountable. So no, it's not provoking them. It's teaching them damn law. You can't do all of this shit to people. You can't just go in people's cars and their houses and take their paychecks, and you can't just do all of this stuff. They didn't know it. A lot of them still don't know it. So no, the idea that they're on camera, no, I don't buy that they're doing that. I buy that the officers don't know the damn law. Going back to the box. Chris, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Talking about Tim Walz, possible VP, and whether that was a good pick for Kamala Harris. She did have other choices. Chris, good afternoon.
Hey, what's going on, man? Listen, I don't have long because, little Debbie's coming through here. We're down here in the Southeast.
Okay.
So I wanted to jump, and you and I talk all the time. Number one, the VP pick, as a conservative, I am very happy about her pick. I love it.
Now, you're going to vote for Trump, though. You're going to vote for Trump?
I am. And I'll be honest with you, and in my mind, the way I look at it, I think for her, and I've always been very honest about things, I think Shapiro is probably the better choice. I think that would have helped a lot with Pennsylvania. And, but she picked what she picked. And it's just like, you and I talked about this. I don't think J.D. Vance was the best pick for Trump. Yeah. But I don't think that was the best pick for Kamala. I mean, but hey, I'm happy about it, Yeah. It's cool, man.
You think she can win?
And we'll see how it runs out.
You think she can win?
I do. Yeah, oh, God. I think, honestly, it's easier for her to win. I mean, honestly, because in the foreseeable future, vote.
Chris, your signal is so bad.
This country it's going to come down to.
Yeah, your signal is so bad. I may have to drop. Is it really that bad? Yeah, it's really that bad. Yeah, I'm about to drop you because it's showing one bar, and you're breaking up all over the place. Anytime, come on back, Chris. Certainly, always a pleasure talking to you. But yeah, your signal was almost pretty much illegible. Have any of you ever seen an actual white supremacist? What uniforms do they wear? Do they have a club, or are they politically affiliated? Does the SPLC know? Mr. McKinnon, I think everybody has seen a white supremacist before. I think everybody's seen a black supremacist before. The reason why you can ask a question like that is because historically, white supremacists don't admit they're white supremacists. Even during the era of segregation, folks drinking from separate water fountains and having to sit on the back of the bus, the white supremacists were saying they weren't racist. They're not white supremacists. We just believe you should be with your kind and we should be with ours. White supremacists don't generally admit it. So when you say, well, have you ever seen? No, they don't wear a uniform. Even the Klan didn't show their face. We just recently had what looked like, and maybe I'm wrong, you can correct me in the comments. We just recently had what looked like a white supremacist march or protest down the streets of Nashville, Tennessee. All of their faces were covered. All of their they took note to what happened in Charlottesville. Remember the whole Jews will not replace us. Good people on both sides. They don't admit who they are. So who's seen the white supremacists? Nobody. Because they're going to tell you they're not a white supremacist. Most people don't come out and admit They're racist. They have other reasons for why they're doing it. I don't have a problem with black people. I just think that they commit a lot of crimes or they do it. I mean, so no, they have a justification for what they're doing. So no, you're never going to see it because they're going to deny it exists. Look at it. By the way, we just mentioned George Floyd and Sonia Massey. So a hell of a lot of folks saying that ain't racist. It ain't even a murder. It's justified. So if you got stuff like that, it can easily fester in plain sight. Look at it in the comments. Get the degenerates out of office. I don't know. Well, I'm assuming you think Biden is a degenerate. He's leaving. A couple years ago, I seen KKK say they're voting for Biden. Nobody believes that, Chris Jordan. Nobody believes that. You got Biden pro-LGBT, pro-transgender, black vice president, black Supreme Court appointee. Nobody in hell is going to believe that the KKK is going to affiliate with that guy. It makes no sense at all. We can talk about Senator Byrd. We can talk about the Democrats or the party of the KKK. But trying to suggest that President Biden is on the radar of the KKK and that's who they want to vote for, that makes no sense at all. If you believe what the KKK stands for, which is the promotion of the white race, why would they vote for Biden? That makes just zero sense. Trump is the one that has openly stated that he believes there is an anti-white sentiment in this country, an anti-white bias, and if he's elected, he'll change it. Why would you skip that guy and vote for the guy you believe is causing the anti-white bias? KKK is not voting for Biden. It just makes no sense at all, but I appreciate your input. Cops abuse people every day. Philip Holmes, I don't disagree with that at all. Kamala called Joe a racist. Ha, ha, ha. A flock of morons. Love your name. You are correct. Kamala Harris did allude to the notion that Joe Biden was a racist. But you do realize J.D. Vance is Trump's vice presidential pick, and he did the same to him. Appreciate your input. Kamala, camel toe. It's K-A-M-A-L. Camel toe isn't going to do shit for black people. It's not her job. It's not her job to do shit for black people. I state this before. If Kamala Harris gets in power, just like Obama, folks, you didn't do nothing for black people. If Obama became president and he did a bunch of shit for black people, what would folks say? We didn't elect the president of black people. We didn't elect the president of Chicago. He's racist. He got in there and all he cared about was black people. That's what everybody would say. But when he don't do it, then we complain he didn't do it as well. So in other words, he can't win. That's not your job as an African-American president, vice president, or politician to specifically target out a race of people and do for that race. Now, Trump, who has stated he's done more for blacks than anyone since Abraham Lincoln, he can get away with saying that because I don't think anybody believes it. I don't think the blacks believe it. I don't even think the white folks believe that Trump has done all of this stuff. So he can kind of get away with it because, as they often say, he's just telling a joke or he's just, hyperbole or something like that. But if you actually had a black person get in office and do a whole bunch of shit, that like reparations would be something that black people would favor, or tuition forgiveness. If he actually done that, the same folks complaining that Obama or Kamala done nothing for black people would be going ape shit. Would have a hell of a lot of complaints. So appreciate the input though. Damn Unc, you went MAGA, says JX. Okay. Let's make Kamala dumb black again. I don't know what that means. I will say this before we do what we normally do about this time. If your grandparents or your parents were born in a foreign country, but you were born in America, you're going to be American and either white or black. That's how it works. If your mom was born in Ireland or Scotland or Germany, but you were born here in America, you're probably going to be considered a white American. I don't know why all of a sudden Kamala Harris' parents being born somewhere else and her being born here makes her Indian. She's an American. She's not Indian. She's an American of Indian descent. She's an American of Jamaican descent. But you either gonna be black or white. That's how we do it here, or Hispanic. We will give categories for Hispanic and Asian, but in terms of white or black, you're one or the other. If your mom is Irish and you were born here in California, so you're white. Nobody's gonna call you Irish. You're considered a white man. Why isn't she considered a black woman? That makes no sense to me at all. Just like there are plenty of places in this country where immigrants have come over here and had children here. Those children are American and they're generally decided to be white or black. For some reason, Kamala Harris gets a different designation. I don't know why. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I appreciate the 136,000 likes as always. It's a pleasure. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central is when you'll find us. If you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, feel free to follow the program on TikTok, tap the screen or subscribe on YouTube. Somebody said, can't say hatred without a red hat. You think the red hat only means hatred? Yikes. Now, come on. Now you see the MAGA hat and that's the first thing you think is hatred? Ouch. Ouch. It's your boy Tim. Follow the program on TikTok. See you tomorrow. For my YouTube audience as well, thank you folks for tuning in. As always, it's been a pleasure. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I got to get back out and go work in for the man. Thank you.